And we are live. And we've got a good boy.
Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must then, but we
Okay.
scions will
Come on,
fight
buddy.
until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
Very good. All gone. Hey, everybody. Is the audio good? Looks like it's good. Let me fix this. Okay. Whew. Turn on the light a little brighter. Oh, it's easing. Oh, I don't look so bad. Turns out a shave and a shower and a haircut actually go a long way. Okay. Oh my god, this morning though, I'll tell you what, I looked something fierce, that's for sure. Hey everybody! Ray, good to see you, glad to have you. Kiko, good to see you, glad to have you. Infinite, good to see you, glad to have you. Ray, good to see you, glad to have you. Death, good to see you, glad to have you. Deathberry, good to see you, glad to have you. And we're back. Yeah, dude, I do like the image of Elioaux menacingly asking stuff without any further context. Yeah. It's supposed to be offering you stuff. The sound does not make the situation any better. Hello, everyone's having a great day and doing well. You too, Deathberry. I hope you're having a great day and doing well as well. Hi, everybody. I am sorry. I have kind of disappeared a little bit. I have, other than, frankly, doing static on Mondays and Sundays, been AFK from the game and just about everything in life. I have been... I'm not sure if it's long COVID or what, but I have been in a mental fog and energy lowdown for quite a few weeks. I have been wholly sorry because I know that I just kind of disappeared. And I tried to put out a message on YouTube today, but yeah, so today I don't know what we're doing exactly. I don't know. I'm going to start at 14 because it's a good default. Maybe we'll do something else. Maybe I'll do some work because I haven't done a lot of work. Maybe we'll come up with a script for the April Fool's video because I actually haven't fully started working on that and I only have 2 weeks left. But I know that I'd rather be at least trying to do something and a little bit exhausted than be stuck in bed more. So, yes, please don't overextend yourself. I won't. Be good to see, glad to have you. Hello, welcome back to the Land of Living. I hope you're feeling all right. Please don't push yourself if you aren't. So I don't have COVID or anything anymore, at least as far as I know. I have just been very brain foggy and tired, and it's annoying because, you know, I have chronic depression, but I've actually got it quite managed and was doing quite well. And so it's like, aha, I'm now able to live my life. And then right afterwards, I now have this. So that's been very annoying because I'm going to do the thing where I talk a whole bunch about nonsense for a second, but like, I am so excited to like I love the Eorzean Archives and I love making videos and shit. And I'm so annoyed right now because I have so many opportunities to do shit. I like, and you know, hang out with you guys and I have lovely people in my life and I just can't take advantage of any of it. This is stupid. Oh, hi, buddy. Would you like to come say hi to the people real quick? Come here. Come here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oof, oh, yay! Oh, thank you very much. Oh, best pupper. He is the boy. Levi! Good to see you. Glad to have you. Look so tired, man. It's good to see you, though. It's good to see you, too. And yeah, it's weird, man. I'm like... So I'm used to, like, exhausted, tired from depression. This is like it's the other way around now. It's like I'm not sleepy or anything, but I'm like, I walk up the stairs and I get winded. It's stupid. It was very stupid. But yeah, I'm not going to push myself necessarily but I feel like not pushing myself to like do something to some extent with you guys is actually way worse for me. The same way that like sometimes it's good to get some exercise even if you're exhausted. Like if you have depression, you still definitely want to get exercise, right? Same kind of idea. Sounds like long COVID, yeah. I'm also a little annoyed because I was feeling better from COVID for a second, and then it was fine, and then all of a sudden it just started getting worse and worse and worse. It's been a gradual decline. I don't think sitting around is doing much anymore. So, but yeah. All I'll say is I would love to hang out with you guys, talk with you guys. It would be a nice reprieve from social isolation. But yeah, okay. So let's see. What are our options? Let me catch me. Hello, sorry, I am infinite. Upper the. This is the fate of last book club. Touch the subject of Fortunal, and this stream starts with him. yes, this is fate. Fortunal. You know what else? One of the things I've been doing when I have been feeling okay enough to get out of bed is I've been replaying a little bit of Elden Ring. Which, if you don't know, Morgott and Margit, the fell omen in Elden Ring, is voiced by Fortunal's voice actors. If actually, Margit, the fell omen cutscene. So, if you don't know, audio still low. Thank you. Now, we say audio. Do you mean my audio, or do you mean the game audio?
In search of the Elden Ring.
This is Fortunal's voice actor. How is my up good? Also, I'm gonna clap. Can you guys let me know how long of a delay it is until you hear the clap? My audio is low, game audio is not. Okay. Up. Testing. Honestly, part of the reason my audio is probably low is actually more to do with me just being quiet. Okay, that should probably be better. Let me know if that's good. Okay, cool.
Golden by the flame of ambition. Someone must extinguish thy flame. Let it be Margit the Fell.
So yeah, I feel like if they swapped Fortunal with Margaret the Fell, it would be quite an interesting flip flop there for sure. Reminds me of how I deal with the mental problems developing obsession. Recently got really obsessed with time controlling magic and characters that use it, and now I want a time magic based job in 14. Look, Pictomancer exists. Anything's possible. I know I've stood against time magic, particularly because like they had a bit with Ass and then they got rid of it. But yeah. Okay. I know plenty of you guys are at work, so a lot of you guys are intermittently distracted, but if anyone also has topics of conversation or things, definitely feel free to share those. I know that I definitely do better when I have a little bit of mental stimulus. I also know it's a little bit ass backwards for the streamer to be saying, provide me with content, but but what can you do? Okay. Let's see. What do we let's work on let's pull this up. My to-do list. Tales from the Calamity. Further Hills of Scholastic, Tales of Dragon Song of War. Tales from the Shadow. Tales of Newfound Adventure. Wait, why is it called Tales from the Shadow? Is that a thing? Okay. Tribal quests. Okay. Return to Evilise. We did do Return to Evilise, so that should be done. I should refresh this, see if that fit. Okay. Why can I not? Oh, does it auto update what I've cleared? Okay, it auto updates what I cleared. That's nice. That's nice. That's really nice. Challenges. Okay, so I can also do the checklist. Okay, cool. Sightseeing logs. Let's finish off some of the sightseeing logs on all the maps. Let's do that. Like that seems like a nice low-key thing where I can talk to you guys. FXIV sightseeing log locations. I also apparently forgot that I need to unlock flying in Ultima Thule. So because I didn't go back to do it. We're not doing the Aram Reborn sightseeing log. Unless, I guess if the time matches up, maybe then it'd be worth it. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but the Eorzean sightseeing log is a nightmare. It has to be the right weather and the right time of day. It's a whole thing. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I can do this on Elioaux. Hey, look, we got a little infinite. I always appreciate that they hang out underneath the tree. Okay, let's go. The first one we're going to check is in Falcon's Nest. So we can just start by going there. Oh, it's nice to actually be out of bed. Oh, okay. Or at least time adjacent. Also because of this, I now must do a T to have cool clockwork-based weapons. Well, dude, I want very badly to do a T does T someday. The problem is that I would want to do like 7 days straight prog of it. And I don't think we have 7 people in the community who simultaneously want to and are capable of doing that level of content, and especially with that much of their schedule devoted to it. So, but I would really love to do a T does T. It should be under travel, right? No, character, portraits, companion, mount guide, menu guide. Also, I get confused a little bit easy. My brain's not working very fast, so sorry if I'm even more slow on the uptake than usual. We're looking for flight points of interest. Companion, mount guide, menu guide. Should be under travel, right? Hunting log, gathering log. Oh, sightseeing log. Oh! Oh, I don't even have the sightseeing log unlocked. Well, that'll damn diggly do it. No wonder. I was noticing that I hadn't been seeing the orbs. No wonder I haven't been. This or Dawn Trail adds a real clockwork weapons. Well, I mean, you never know. PKG, good to glad to have you. Clearly, the solution to add Time Mage would be to make Astro into the branching job, like how Arcanist goes up to 2 options. So, the problem is that doesn't really work because Ast is a job and not a class that branches. And that's to say nothing of the fact that one of the few things they've explicitly said that they deeply regret and would never do is, like, if they could, they've said they would go back and change Arcanist so that Scholar and Summoner were one. And also, I don't know if you're joking or serious. Either way, welcome to the fact that I always take things overly at face value. But, you know, the thing is, I think a lot of people forget when Ast first came out, there was more time stuff with it. They removed the time magic and changed the time magic stuff because they were like, I don't know how well this works, and also is causing problems with lures and stuff. Shadow Fade, good to see, glad to have you. I think they could make time magic work in 14. It's not like haste magic, but more like repeat this ability that was cast 10 seconds ago or echo a future ability kind of thing. That's a great idea, V. I love that. I mean, like, I almost like that more as like an echo mage. I mean, echo is kind of a loaded term, right? Because of 14 and the echo. But like repeat. Yeah, I like that. I do like that. Probably be one of the most challenging classes to play well if they did it like that, but it could be cool in my opinion. I'd also say that one of the things that's really cool now is that every job that they release presumes that you've played a job up to the level that it's unlockable at. So if they release a job in 8.0 that did something like that, I think that's fine. The same way that they said they wanted Sage and Reaper to be more, I forget what advanced? I forget what the term of the job is. But they basically have said new jobs will be designed to be slightly more with a higher skill ceiling. Have I done the 15 quests on Elioaux? I have. We did a stream on it. Yep. Okay, wait. I thought Millith Ironheart was where you collect the sightseeing log. Am I crazy? Program your fight, sit back and watch. Rewind yourself 9 seconds back, restoring all the mana you spent during this time and maybe giving a buff. You know, what about kind of like the Mesmer or like an illusionist sort of thing where you're creating copies of yourself that are going to do effects, but they're going to do them later. So like you create a copy of you that doesn't affect a spell like 3 seconds from now or 9 seconds from now, and so you could like build up like multiple clones that like all fire the spell at once, so you like technically are doing almost no damage for like 10 seconds, but then you do an enormous amount of damage. That'd be cool. Didn't you get the log from the lady of the Gridanian Aetheryte? Is it the Gridanian Aetheryte? Because Millith Ironheart is the person who like comes up with the whole she was related to the sightseeing logs, but maybe you're right. Femke, good to see you, glad to have you, by the way. Oh man, that's why I love 12. Don't tell them about Kugane Tower. There's a thing you can install to get the timer's availability for AR sightseeing logs. Oh, nice. I'm always little. This is like one thing I can't really change. Getting together 7 other people would either take a week off of work or no sleep that week. Yeah, not super likely. Yeah. Sightseeing log. Oh man. Okay, let me see. Maybe it's I have it here. Okay. Players can unlock sightseeing by log. A sight to behold. Players can start quests by talking to. Okay, New Gridania 11.8. 11.8 13.4. There we go. So she's in the inn. I think Infinite was trying to lead me there. Like I said, sorry, I'm going to be a little slower than usual. The greatest enemy of every static, time overlaps. We all know that scheduling is the true difficulty of Savage. You didn't have sightseeing logs unlocked, and you dared say anything to Crepe for not unlocking challenge logs. Challenge logs and sightseeing logs are not equivalent. Challenge log is much more useful for leveling. Also, Elioaux is an alt. Also, Crepe was playing an alt, so that doesn't make much of a point, does it? As if you're not busy enough without without playing Lost and Found. Oh, do forgive me, my friend. Once again, one of our customers has departed without her belongings, and I'm at a loss for what to do about it. While I understand the adventurers have many cares in their minds, it would make me life much easier if they could keep their personal effects in order. Do not come here to lend an ear to my grumblings. Oh, is she going to send me to Millith? This is the book in question. The face of its owner was unfamiliar to me, but Earl over there seemed quite smitten with her, as with every pretty lass he lays his eyes on. But that's neither here nor there. Might I trouble you to inquire as to the girl's whereabouts? I found the man to be less than forthcoming ever since I spurned his advances. Ah, the sweet little thing with the journal. Of course I remember. Remember her well. Had a smile to warm the heart and a laugh. A lilt one, might say. To tickle the depths of the soul. And she was most eager to hear the tales of many travelers which speak to keen and sensitive minds. Jilly, I believe her name was? No, that's not right. Jilly was the redhead from last week. Nah, damned if I can't remember. You must understand. No small number of comely lasses seek out my company. I dare say keeping all the names and faces straight is an adventure in itself. Any road, the girl spoke of paying a visit to Apocalypse Falls before travelling on like as not. You'll find her there now shedding a tear or two at our parting. Do pass along my regards if you see her. She should be readily recognizable in that charming straw hat of hers. Ah, yep, see, they send you to Millith. Called it. Okay, 2 weird questions that are completely disconnected from each other. But when someone says the term comely, what do you guys imagine? Good morning, Light. Good to see you, glad to have you. Raven, good to see you, glad to have you. Also, Ray, did I say good to see you, glad to have you? Because if not, good to see you, glad to have you. Oh, I need the 15 quests. Thanks for the reminder, Ray. Didn't you get the log from Lady Redania? You have 1 day left. You have to pick up the quest in the canopy to return her book. Thank you, Shadow Fate. I know I'm a little bit behind, but I guess I better go now. Quest to sight to behold. Sightseeing log starts in the Carolyn Campy. Wait, no, baby. Each region has their own unlock NPC. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you unlock it with Millith. Because I started in Limsa on Elioux, so I don't Yeah. Greetings, Raven. Greetings, Light. Each have their own unlocks but require a previous one, I believe. I don't... According to this... So... The Heavensward, Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and Endwalkers have their own unlock, so each expansion has their own unlock. But in terms of Aram Reborn, it's in Gridania only. I imagine pretty, but in a rustic way. That's what you imagine with... Interesting. Interesting. Someone good looking. I don't know why I developed this, but for some reason, comely... I always imagined... Like, I don't know when it was as a kid or when this developed, but for some reason I saw it as semi-synonymous with well-endowed, but that it just means like pretty or attractive. It has nothing to do with chest size. Second is, I don't know if any of you guys read it, but Yoshi P, there was just a released interview with Yoshi P and Famitsu. He talked a little bit about 14, and one of the things he said was that he's and I'm paraphrasing here, so exact wording does matter, but he regretted some of the amount that they've made 14, not like the hard end, like Savage and stuff, but like the average game a little bit too easy or a little bit too unchallenging. And I was curious if you guys agreed. And more importantly, one of the things I was curious about, or what I thought was, I think what they should be, the like ethos should be, is that each expansion should be a little bit like the normal medium level stuff should be a little bit more challenging than the last, right? Because effectively with each expansion you can assume a certain level of experience has been gained, the same way that like newer jobs, people have to be playing a job for at least a bit of time before they can get there. So, you know, Endwalker, if you take like the medium level, you just take, let's say, the trials of Endwalker should be slightly harder than Shadowbringers slightly harder than Stormblood. That, at least that's one thing that comes to mind for me as a solution. But I'm curious if you agree with that, because I'm always torn between the amount of people, the accessibility 14 has versus the amount of people I think who are of median and above skill level feeling unchallenged by anything below EX. Pardon, I don't believe we've met. Is something to mind, you say? Within its brittle pages are detailed sketchings of landscape and vistas numbering in the hundreds. My journal! Thank the 12. My haste to escape the clutches of that insufferable... Sorry. Muttonmonger. It slipped my mind entirely. Might I be so bold as to ask your name? It's Elioux. Elioux Forgeron. Yeah, my gratitude, Elioux. May not look like much, but I count this humble diary among my most prized possessions. The page brimmed with tales of the most heart-stirring sights to have seen in our realm, as told to me by the sensitive souls I've met in my travels across Eorzea. Tales that have struck me in the most incurable case of wanderlust. As an adventurer, you too have seen the realm, I'm sure. But I would ask you, Elioux, have you truly seen her? Borne witness to Eorzea and her myriads of splendor? Have you stood on the palm-fringed beaches of the Costa del Sol just as the sun peeks out over the horizon? Yes. Its rays kissing the sands beneath your feet. Have you lost yourself in the night sky of the Scoli? Multiple times. Adrift amidst a boundless sea of stars. But why do I even try to convey with words that which must be seen to be appreciated? To our fortune, whithersoever we wander, Eorzea's beauty is but a stone's throw away. If I may quote from my journal... Yes, this is the one. Afore the fane, beneath the two that are as one, her divine cup runneth over with light ethereal. Such was the conjurer's word, and I would see as she saw. I saw for myself before coming here, and I can't assure you the conjurer spoke true. Indulge me. Go there and look out upon the beauty before you. I'd hear your thoughts. I don't know why, but doing that slight accent made me think of... So there's I don't know what else to show you. I don't know how else to explain what I'm about to show you. Can gangsters cry? There's a guy named Glorb, and he does music. And it's SpongeBob drill music, but also... Okay, first let me show you the first thing. Let me show you. So yeah, so that's the thing. And then someone also made a country song.
Hey, SpongeBob, I brought you a little something. I'm leaving you, SpongeBob. I love you, but I'm leaving you. Can gangsters cry? 'Cause lately it's been weighing on my mind. And I say I'm fine, 'cause underwater no one sees a teary eye. And baby, all the beef from Bikini Bottom got me stressing out. I'm sorry I didn't have the time for you, and now you're saying bye. Girl, I'm sorry that I ripped my pants, and I know that you don't like romance, but all I wanna do is be right there by your side. Can gangsters cry?
Unironically, the song actually kind of slaps, I'm not gonna lie. And look, well, there are a myriad of concerns and worries around the use of AI and voice cloning. I have to say, this is one of the least evil. You're welcome. I'm glad that I could all introduce this to you. I think it's difficult because my mom loves to play but struggles even at this level of the game, but I'd love more of a challenge. Yeah, that's the impossibility. I think Ray said the same thing, Shadow, is that you know, you have a myriad of people, and in 14, I think you have an even wider. I don't know. Subjectively, my impression is that 14 has a much wider gambit of skill levels than many other MMOs of its similar scale and size. I agree, but I can see the difficulty of keeping things accessible so that you aren't getting locked out of the needed content. Yeah, so I agree, and I think the difficulty is, I think with MMOs that you have to consider the range of ability. I think every trial should be at least like Golbez on the first day. We're talking 5 wipes in my party. Yeah, early streams. Great, good to see you, glad to have you. Less early streams and more just streaming the second I have any energy that I can give. Yeah, at least those after Endwalker. Yeah, here's my pitch. My pitch is that if you are someone who has played through as many hours of going through all the way through a Realm Reborn to Endwalker, I think there's a certain level of skill and complexity that you can assume a player should either be able to do or learn to get through, right? Or that people will help them. I think the problem is, I think if I had to simplify it down, it's the difference between creating fights where someone can figure out what to do without dying versus creating fights where people are figuring out what to do is part of getting through, right? I mean, that's the difference between like EX and normal, or Savage and normal. Is normal, you should be able to effectively right now, you're able to figure out all the mechanics if you're paying decent enough attention as they come out, or at least if it's semi-well designed, right? And at least you should be able to choose difficulty, that way you can have the difficulty as you like. Yeah, I think the hard... Yeah, I was just talking to my partner today. So she's very much of the idea of like, she doesn't care if she would rather have there be, I feel like I'm gonna butcher her perspective, and that's not fair, but she loves like leveling systems and stuff, and like has no problem with there being multiple difficulties or anything. And one of the things I have is like, I really like benchmark. Oh, hey, there's V. There's like, I really like having benchmarks, like very specifically set ones. Sight to behold. Okay, where do so you got a place for the for the feign. Okay, yeah. Sorry. I just you misspoke. Most evil. Look, I'm not saying that Glorb music isn't cursed, but it also kind of slaps. Personally, I like a little more challenge puzzles, but that has the same problem. I remember the burn on the first day, constantly wiping on the last boss until time runs out. Okay. That's pretty good, Infinite. That's pretty good. Does that count? Oblivion, good to see you. Glad to have you. I will try to avoid coughing into my mic. Don't want to get you guys sick now, do I? I do not antagonize people playing on easy like some bad people do, but for me personally, sometimes blood starts to boil only during fights that have fangs. Yeah, I don't know, that's a poetic way to put it. Yeah. Look, that's always the problem, right? Is that you have a variety of skill levels, but I actually think the bigger problem is not a variety of skill levels. Hear me out. I do not think the problem is actually a variety of skill level. I think the problem is the variety in what is a enjoyable challenge. Now, what I mean by that is you can have someone who is not very good, for lack of a better way, but really likes being challenged and learning and trying to get better. And you can have someone who's incredibly competent, but just wants to get through, right? Thanks, Tam. Good to see you. Glad to have you, by the way. And don't worry, I'm not pushing myself. Or more accurately, I'm still suffering a lot from, like, I don't know what to put it in, long COVID symptoms. But not doing anything has been worse for me than doing something. And here's the thing: is I'm playing, I'm getting some stuff accomplished, I'm talking to you guys, I'm gonna feel good about this, and that means when I rest, I will be restorative rather than feeling like. I don't know if you guys, have you ever, any of you guys ever slept for 16 hours a day for like multiple days in a row? You go a little crazy. Wait, being across the country isn't socially distanced enough. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome back, Elioux. I trust you were so moved by the sight as I was. The great stone that adorns the entrance of the Stillglade Fane is none other than the Sky Serpent's egg, cast down from the heavens by Nafka the Matron so long ago. And those mammoth tree trunks, remnants no doubt of a primeval forest. Whence did they come? Where did they go? Where did they come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Why do the two great arbors grow as one? This I do not know, but what I do know is the realm is replete with such beauty, if only we know where to look. This is what compels me to wander, not the promise of power, glory, or riches, but a burning desire to bear witness to all the wonders around us as wrought by gods and men alike. Though we have just met, the twinkle in your eye tells me that we share certain aesthetic sensitivities. It would be my pleasure to gift you with a sightseeing log of your own. In its pages you'll find a record of the most stirring sights in the realm, both those I've seen with my own eyes, and those I have thus far, at least, only heard of in my travels. No doubt your adventures keep you occupied, but this is not all the more reason to take the sights as you travel. The both body and mind might enjoy a moment respite from time to time. And who can say? Perhaps you'll discover a glorious new vistas that have eluded me. With that, I wish you safe travels, Elioux. When you have seen all there is to see, pray, return to me. I'd like nothing more than to share the impressions with a fellow sensitive soul. I'll also tell you what, it's a lot easier to, like, read off you guys and, like, respond, like, and keep up the momentum that way than it is to, like, sit at the computer and, like, write or edit. My brain fogs up something fierce. But you're not here to listen to me, bitch. So let's go get to some sightseeing logs. Oh, right, we have to unlock all the other places, too. Okay, what was Heaven's Word? Heaven's Word is signed by speaking Kester, Ironheart, and the Dravonian Forelands. I remember when I first started playing 14 and I came to Gridania and I was struggling with depression at the time. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, Whalers and Water Wheels really hit me. The music, that part, it just, and it still does, but especially then for some reason, it just sounded so happy. It just sounded so happy. It made me cry. It was very beautiful. I really appreciate moments like that. Thankfully, yeah, it's rough. Yeah, I think I'm starting to develop an addiction to games whooping my ass. I can relate to that. My favorite sort of game is a game that has no modulated difficulty or progression and just a challenge. And it says go, like, achieve, like, get better, improve, go again and again and again and again and again. And I'm definitely in the minority and a little bit crazy for that, for sure. I don't think that's, I would not advocate that as good design unless you're like me. Been there, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's rough. Depends on what you're interested in. For me, fights are a means to get from the bit of story to the next bit of story. For some, the story is just the means of getting from one fight to the next. Yeah, it's very true, Rare. It's very true. I think I haven't been that sick, but I've seen firsthand what it can do to someone. Yeah. Yeah. I have done that, but not because I was sick, but because I had no work and could finally catch up on sleep. What are you talking about? I'm currently sleeping 16 hours a day. I have no problem sleeping 26 hours a day, but most of society would argue that I'm broken. I mean, are you happy, Nere? Because here's what I would say. I wish I could be happy doing that. For some reason, I love doing things. I love playing games and making things. And so, like, whenever I'm like out of energy or, you know, struggling with health, I'm miserable because I just want to be doing stuff. Life's too why did I go here? I need to go to the Four Lands. I bet you it's going to be in Tailfeather. Bed does not judge you. Bed, nice. Yeah. How are you getting 26 hours and 24 hours a day in Array? She's sleeping so much that it's actually slowing down the progression of time. Well, paint me yellow and call me a chocobo. That's Millet's sightseeing log you got there. Yeah, it is. Do you know her? Forgive me. I got carried away for a moment. I'm Kester Ironheart, cousin to Millith, an explorer of sorts. Like most of my extended family, when I last spoke with Millith, she told me of an adventurer with a keen case of wanderlust, an adventurer that I know now to be you. What say you lend me your log for a moment? Don't worry, I won't eat it or anything. Wait, are all the different people in the expansions all members of her family? I never noticed. There, yes, there. That should do it, I reckon. It's no secret that Ishgard is home to some of the most remarkable sights in our realm, mind you. I've not seen them all myself, but I certainly know where they might be found. And now, so do you. Thanks to the notes and rumors I've seen fit to jot down in your sightseeing log. Yes, scores of stunning vistas are just waiting to be discovered. Your legs will not carry you all the way to all of them, though. Should you find a particular spot out of reach, you might consider taking to the skies atop a black-feathered bird. But if I were to say more, I'd be robbing you of the joy of discovering these spectacular views for yourself. Godspeed, my fellow explorer. May this moment mark the beginning of a tour of wonder. Sightseeing log expanded. For those of you who started late, and I love mentioning some of these sometimes, but just so you know, originally when Flight came out, only specific mounts could fly, like the Mana Cutter and the Black Chocobo. Every mount being able to fly was added later. I just don't remember. Was that added in 5.3? Can someone check me like when that was added? Tailfeather, founded by hunters who came to the frontiers in hopes of snaring the wild chocobos of the forest. The settlement and those who call it home are shielded from the eyes of the dragons by the canopy of the majestic Calum trees that rise high above. Okay, one complaint about Heavensward, just personally from me. The chocobo forest is supposed to provide protection to the chocobos. I'm sorry, this ain't providing shit to the chocobos against dragons. Like, this is supposed to be like a thick canopy. The dragons are just swooping right down there and picking up them chocobos. 16, though, I would say 26 is good. Definitely need to start slow, going back to normal. Hopefully start feeling like things are getting back to normal. Yeah. Once I slept for 26 hours after not sleeping for 23 hours because of a fuck-up during my time in university. Been there, Infinite. I don't think I've ever managed 26 hours, but I think I'm pretty close to 20 to 24. Yeah. I know how that goes, yeah. Sometimes bed is warm and comfy and I had nothing to do, so I just go back to bed after waking up. After P ranking the entirety of Ultra Kill, P rank being a rank you get after perfecting every level, one thing separating me and Savage fights are social anxiety. Well, Infinite, you should... Did you join us for our intro to Savage? We could run another one of those. Because Savage fights, honestly, are really not as scary as you think. And if you come in prepared and knowing the fight for the most part, like conceptually, and you inform people you're progging, it's actually, it goes quite, it goes quite well. Bed is very accepting. Cat sharing the bed may judge you if you wake them up. They just make it more cozy and hard to get up. Oh, Deadpool was cuddling me last night, and he's such a cinnamon bun. It was very good. Been having issues getting out of bed lately as well. Don't help that my mother got me a new blanket. It's too warm and cozy. I have, and I shit you not, because of difficulties sleeping and getting up before, slept on the floor because even though the sleep was worse, getting up was much easier because at least I wasn't comfortable. Which seems like an ass-backward solution, but what can I say? I just can't physically sleep after a certain point. My brain just says, okay, time to get up. I wish I had that. Social anxiety is the true savage fight. You ain't wrong, Shadow. If I could abandon normal timelines, I absolutely would. I'll get to it when I get to it. Dude, if I could pause time and just be like, okay, I'm going to just rest for the next month, and then I'm going to work and do like 2 years of work, and then I'm going to unfreeze time. Boy, would I. If I could... Okay, if I could have the superpower to pause time, but the downside is I can only use it to work, I would see that as an upside. Bed is full of lies. Only the hard certainty of the floor with floofy carpets has all the answers. Lay on floor when feeling down. Actually being down physically will make your mood go up. Thought. It was added sometime before 4.4 because everything could fly when I came back. Okay, good to know, Tam. So it wasn't in Shadowbringers. I was so confused that the game explicitly mentions the black chocobo being able to fly after I flew on my yellow one after being an ARR. Yeah, Crepe. There's some other mounts that can do that. That's mentioned that specifically too. Like I think the carpet, not Thabnarian, the Corvosi carpet. We can't because my BIS is in Europe. I mean, you don't need BIS. Also, we can teach you to do Savage, non-current Savage. We can do like Omega, and as long as you have level 70 Tomestone gear, you're fine. And if you have level 80 Tomestone gear, you're effectively BIS for Omega stuff. I also love that everything can fly. Getting cool mounts in WoW, only not use it because it was terrestrial only was the highest tier. Bummer. My dog insists on being able to sleep next to my head. I appreciate she likes being near me, but sometimes I'll have my laptop in the way. She'll bark at me until I move it so I can be there. Yeah. See, Crepe would happily play. Crepe's in your timeline, time zone, realm of existence. Europe isn't a real place, folks. Europe isn't real, and Europe can't hurt you. Crepe does a bunch of Savage rating. I remember the time I woke up in the middle of the night and my brain forced me to imagine the rest of the dream I was watching. I know how to do Omega. I still have fundamental synergy waymarks. Okay, so yeah, you got this. Also, did we get back to, we never really, I feel like, had a good thought on Yoshi P. Let's actually pull up quick Yoshi P's actual statement. Just so. Yoshida reflecting on the fan festival. So from now on, we'll keep working to surprise players and go beyond. Actually, I want to let's see if I can. I want to see what the context for that was. God, Google Translate's amazing. Okay, what kind of developer was Yoshida-san from your point of view when you were at Square Enix? Even before he was transferred to the former Final Fantasy XIV, Yoshida-san was a completely different person, a person who radiated tremendous brilliance. Even when people in charge of everything from engineering to art approached me for advice, I was able to discuss them in depth. Even if you're a complete stranger, you can tell right away that he has a lot of knowledge just by having a short conversation with him. It may be an understatement to say that he stood out from the crowd even back then, but he was the type of person I wanted to aspire to be as an excellent game designer. Let's try. Is it true that the larger organization, the more likely the staff will be responsible for only specific areas? If you want to get multi-skills, you have to take the job of the person next to you. Because I've worked with the attitude of, I'll do the work myself, I've become knowledgeable not only about battles, but also about the level of design and systems. Don't be afraid to ask questions of programmers and integrate directly what you want to do. Thinking about ways to solve problems together with the engineers. This type of problem-solving flow cannot be created by simply waiting for the other person's reaction. I think that's Shou-chan's biggest charm. I see. I think Yoshida and others are truly capable of being able to speak logically with passion. That's why I thought this is there's kind of so Shimoda is one of the other people who's also answering the questions. I was once entrusted with various tasks and gained the I think Yoshida and others are truly capable of being able to speak logically with passion. That's why I thought that once I was entrusted with various tasks and gained the trust of the company, I should be more visible and take on the main tasks. At the time, I thought it was my role to create the flow. On the other hand, I myself refused, saying I don't want to be exposed. By the way, it's also connected with the arrogance mentioned earlier, but the director is only in charge of the overall game design and doesn't show up saying, I'll take care of the rest on site, which is a misinterpretation of the meaning, leaving it to me, and becomes difficult to find then. You may find that your organization has become vertically divided. So after experiencing the development of pirate and vampire projects for about a year, I think pirate and vampire is I think a mistranslation of phantom projects. For about a year, I was able to reflect on such arrogance. That's why when we took over the old Final Fantasy 14 system, so 1.0, we decided that's no good. I'll do everything myself. I don't think I'm old enough to be I think the problem is there's the Japanese phrase here, like, and some Japanese set phrases aren't translating well. I don't think I'm old enough to be in a position where I can leave it to others or pull someone up. Let's see if we can find it. What was it? Fan Fest. The Final Fantasy 14 Fan Festival that's held at the Tokyo Dome the other day seems like a culmination of community that has been building up for over the past 10 years. When Yoshida's former Final Fantasy 14 game was in turmoil, if we had announced that he would hold a fan festival at Tokyo Dome one day, the only reaction would have been, I wonder what this person is talking about. Probably therefore, instead of saying we held the event, and the correct expression may be the players made it possible for us to hold it. In the old Final Fantasy 14, we were able to hold onto our desire to achieve a new life because of the people who supported us even under those circumstances. As a result of working hard with the feeling of giving back, I realized that in return, the community continued to push me. That's why we decided to rent out the Tokyo Dome. The Tokyo Dome, like them, I don't know, this probably doesn't, I don't know if people in the West know, like the fact that the fan festival was held in the Tokyo Dome actually is a pretty big deal. This is kind of a bad analogy, but it would be like if they held fan fest in like Madison Square Garden. Like, it is kind of a big deal. Hold an event for a single game. We wanted to give everyone that experience as part of our return. If you can feel that, nothing would make me happier. The scenery of the Tokyo Dome was truly amazing. I've once again realized that we must continue to provide players with surprises that go beyond their reality. Okay, yes. Yeah, so this is where this person who translated a better job. Yoshida reflected on the festival. So from now on, we'll keep working to surprise players and go beyond what they imagined. But that reminds me of something I regret. As we've continued to operate Final Fantasy XIV, we've made the game more comfortable, a game you can play without stress. But looking back on the last 10 years, I'm thinking we've overdone that a bit. What do you mean? A video game should, of course, have an element of stress, but how to handle that properly is extremely difficult. I can agree with that. For example, in a side-scrolling game, if there aren't any holes you can drop down into if you miss a jump, of course the game would lose its stress, but it would also lose its fun. Speaking of Final Fantasy XIV, I'd like to restore that part a little bit. If we do that, we can give everyone a better challenge in a good way than ever before. Yoshida's intentions for, yeah. And that's kind of the main thing I want to talk about. So I feel like the important thing there he's saying is making sure that there is the holes, right? The holes to jump over as in a platformer. And not so much as like, oh, it needs to be harder, but to make sure that a game doesn't feel like it is without any level of challenge. And obviously, like you said, that's extremely difficult to actually make work. But I'm curious what all of you guys get, because I feel like we have a pretty good spread of people in the T community. Though, if I had to guess, I feel like actually I was about to say that some of us lean towards more casual play, but that's not really true. Especially, I've seen a lot of you guys of late push yourself into like doing either savage content or learning to tank, or so. I don't know. I'll remind you that UK time is real time. Everything else is fake. If Europe doesn't exist, my trip this summer is about to be real boring or real interesting light, depending on how you want to frame it. I literally just woke up pretty much. Only got out of bed due to stream happening. Well, there you go, Raven. It's all to help you. Okay, actually, let's pull up the sightseeing log. 4 lines, I whispered a prayer to the realm in all her glory, and there I saw a sight that will be sung for as long as songs are sung. From high atop the Dravanian 4 lands, I whispered a prayer. I looked out upon the realm in all her glory. There I saw a sight that will be sung up for as long as songs are sung. These are terrible. How am I supposed to? These tell me nothing about where. This tells me nothing about where they are. I didn't realize how high you could actually go up here. I didn't even realize there were mobs up here. Oh, wait, can you actually go? Holy shit! I don't think I've ever gone up here. I must have at least once, because I think I finished most of the sightseeing logs on Lend. Annex Shrine. 3 towers unique in that they appear to have been built to house both men and dragon, an architectural oddity, which would seem to corroborate the Holy See's position that they were erected by heretic witches for themselves and the dragon consorts. See, this is a good example of like untrustworthy information, because 3 towers unique appear to be built to house both men and dragon, an architectural oddity which would seem to corroborate the Holy See's position that they were erected by heretic witches for themselves and the dragon consorts. Or they've been lying about their own history. See, if you took this without having played Heavensward and read this, you would just assume that this may be actually true based off of this info, right? And this is why, like, you have to make sure to parse information both in this game and as text really carefully. You got me worried that I somehow missed an entire hour. I'm preparing to trip to Japan in April. Oh, that's very exciting, Crepe. Google Translate, especially Google Lens, are the best tools ever. And they've gotten much better, Crepe. I'll tell you what, Google Translate with Japanese has gotten really good in the past 5 years. It used to be a lot worse. You should only use it for loan words. Not till the end of the time, yeah. All my US colleagues are in DST now, and I just wish daylight savings would happen at the same time for everyone. Or, and hear me out, we just get rid of it. I finally got back in line with me this week. The next month, they all finish 1 hour earlier than before me, which sucks. Oh, yeah, DST, yes, daylight saving times absolutely needs to go away, Shadow. The US always has to do stuff different. We always have to do stuff first because we're number 1. I love DST. Love, love, love. Well, why don't you marry it, Nuray? Daylight savings, my old nemesis. Nothing like being completely confused by a friend's time because their country doesn't have them. Arizona doesn't participate, yes, and so they just throws everything off everywhere else in the country with call centers and such. So even if Americans think Americans just want to do stuff to be different, well, each state's got to do it their own way, right? I need to move somewhere warm and within 300 days of sun at the western edge of times. Can we get an analogy for people from real content? With the culture in Japan, I don't think there is a good comparison, but it's like the venue ever. Yeah, Madison Square Garden. Oh, right, you guys. What's a good most prestigious theater in London? What are some names that? I mean, Shakespeare Globe, Royal Opera House. Even the Royal Opera House isn't. Part of the problem is that part of the issue is that like England and like the UK have a really vibrant theater culture, and so like you actually have quite a few prestigious theaters. Like you don't have like, well, I should say you don't. From at least an outsider's perspective and someone who actually does know at least a little bit about the scene, there isn't like a place that when I think of like the theater of London or the biggest venue or like the venue. Maybe you guys do. I'm not a great player, but I'm getting better. Yes, you are, Nuri. I think the biggest challenge for Yoshi 14 is if you make the base game MSQ without challenge, then people think that's all it is because they miss the optional content that doesn't have challenge. I also, and hear me out, and this is, look, it's an imperfect, you're never going to get it perfect, right? Because there's just going to be different people with different values. I think most players who are even afraid of some challenge would actually benefit from a little bit of challenge. I have seen so many of you guys improve greatly when pushed a little bit out of your comfort zone. And so I may be wrong and maybe I'm pushing it too far, but I think a little bit more challenge than people think that they are fully capable of might not be the worst. And I think it actually might push people to grow a little bit. But, you know, like Fan Festival being held in a Coliseum, yeah. But if you put a challenge in the base game, it can be a deterrent to many. So yeah, tough to balance. And see, this is why my argument is that's why you make the challenge incremental, which to an extent is already true, right? With like the progression of skills and everything. But also why you make Dawn Trail the hardest expansion, right? You make it progressive. You make it so the same way that people can go into Endwalker and they see some mechanics, but because they're built off of a version or the mechanics from a prior expansion, and layering them, they can understand them pretty quickly. I think you can continue to increase the complexity, or not even just complexity, but increase the challenge. By the time someone has finished Endwalker, I don't think it's unfair to assume a certain level of base competency that you can build into your presumption of challenge. That's my thought. Yeah. I used a guide for sightseeing logs. Yeah, same. I'm all for getting rid of DST. Yeah, my favorite Untold 14 is the Unfortunate Chocobo Trader in the Western Highlands. Oh, you'll have to... Fortunate Chocobo. I forget. I don't remember that one. You'll have to inform me, Infinite. I hate it being like dark at 3:30 p.m. in the winter. Yeah. Getting rid of daylight savings. Fair. Okay, getting rid of time zones in favor of one general time zones. Now we're talking. Except, okay, but that doesn't... I disagree with getting rid of time zones because saying, like... I get the why people like universal mean time, but the genuine complication of it being like 8 p.m. Like 8 in the universal time coordinate being your morning and someone else's sleep time actually would provide a lot of consternation and conflict and make conveying time kind of useless because it would be like total across the board, but it would be useless for conveying what time someone is going through or dealing with, right? It's not saying 8 p.m. right now. If I tell you it's 12 a.m., it's fair to presume most people are asleep. But if we have no time zones and we just say it's 12, that might be the start of your workday, and it might be that I've been asleep for 2 hours, you know? So... Sydney Opera. Oh, that's a good. Yeah. So it would be like the Sydney Opera House. That's not terrible. It would be like if they held it in the Sydney Opera House. Yeah. Example, I've been really looking forward to playing Stray, but like 5 minutes into the game, there's a point where you have to run into a maze while being attacked the whole way when you've only just started. Yeah. Which, I mean, I would say that that's just poor design. Yeah. I have not got beyond that yet, and I've lost all the enjoyment I was expecting. Oh, that's a bummer. Also, you playing a game about cats is pretty on brand. Can't wait to wake up at 8 a.m. and face the sun going down over the horizon. Yeah, Royal Albert Hall. I mean, the Royal Albert Hall wouldn't be bad. And Tam, again, I'm not English, so I like, forgive me, I don't know. But I feel like if I asked an Englishman what like the most famous theater was, I don't know that I would get one singular answer. I mean, that's probably true of America too. But so I don't know if that's even useful, but you get what I'm saying. Oh, hey, there's I'm just saying, if you haven't watched the whole thing, you should. I'll die on the hill that it slaps. I'll die on that hill. Oh, damn, there's a lot. Okay, let's see. We'll just go to them in order. Loth Asnath, so that should be in the south. Yeah. But see, and so to your point about Stray, though, Ray, I would say that that's not a problem about the challenge. That is a problem about designing an experience that leads you to the appropriate amount of capacity. That would be like throwing EX being treated as normal, right? And EX being treated as normal as early as A Realm Reborn, rather than like, because to be fair, like, frankly, some of the normals now are the level of ARR EXs. Like, basically, like Leviathan EX, how much harder is Leviathan EX really compared to Hydaelyn? Not that much, if really much at all. I mean, a little bit more coordination because you have to fight the right tail, you have to fight the tail and stuff, but like, not really, you know? So that's to me, that's less about whether or not challenge can be introduced, and is more about like doing so correctly. You know, which I mean, it's definitely worth. It is an important conversation. 2736. Is it going to be high up? If it's going to be high up, can you even land on these? I've actually never tried. Would you look at that? Learning new shit every day. Lost Athnath. Built from a highly viscous blend of Dravanian clay and saliva, the nests of the Nath are surprisingly stable, able to withstand the harsh elements of the Dravanian forelands. The smoke that rises from the mound-like structures is believed to be sort of incense, with a scent that, for reasons unknown, keeps would-be dragon invaders at bay. Why am I falling? Why am I falling? That was weird. I couldn't fly. That's really cool. Oh, will you let me walk up here, but I can't walk up that siding? That's stupid. Oh. Okay, but Shadow, what if you can expand your comfort zone? The story and level skip are sadly at things the devs can't assume a baseline skill level for being. Oh, I disagree. Vehemently disagree. I vehemently disagree, and here's why. If you use a story skip, you forego your right to be designed for, because you are choosing to skip over that content. You assume people are playing through that experience and design for that, and if people are willfully skipping over it, that is on them and their responsibility to know better, not on the dev's responsibility to design for. So I disagree that is a consideration that must be made. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. But I would argue that I do not think it is one that should or is in any way mean. And I'm not saying, that's not me arguing don't story skip necessarily. That is just me that implicitly, and I would argue even based on the thing that the little messages you get when you do it, explicitly, that if you're choosing to do so, you are foregoing the right to complain about your lack of understanding, and you are accepting that you are responsible for doing so. And if you choose to complain anyways, I to be frank, don't care. I care very deeply about people who are frustrated because they're trying to learn and they're struggling. I do not care very much about someone who forgoes. You know, it's what's this door won't keep me out because I can't read. You know. Yeah, there's an NPC appearing in different places in Western Highlands. A chocobo trader going from Jivania, but his chocobos are being killed by monsters. Last place you see him, he's hanging off a cliff and praying for his life. Oh, that reminds me, and I'm forgetting the chocobo's name already. There is a there's just a yellow quest in the Western Highlands that's really, I don't know why it hit me hard, but there's a guy a knight here who his friend was out with his chocobo, and he hasn't come back yet, and you go and you find him, and it turns out that the knight's like around here and hurt, and he says, hey, I'm only here because my chocobo fought off the monsters and led them away. Can you please go help him and save him? And by the time you get to the chocobo, he's already died, and you bring him back a feather. It's just very sad. But it's also very, very beautiful. For his life. I guess I could consider it with the right people, but people are scary. Here's the thing. Most players in 14 aren't that scary. And if you say, hey guys, I need some help. Could I get, like, if you go in just acknowledging, hey guys, I really want to learn, or I'm here to learn, I'm here to do good. Can someone help me or explain, or real quick? Most people in the 14 community, most people are going to want to help. Maybe an equal amount or slightly less will be quiet, and a very small minority might might be a little something, right? But you know, it's gonna be okay. People aren't that bad, I promise. Most people either just want to get by or want to be of help. Assholes are the minority. People be capable of being assholes. Look, we're all capable of being a dick, right? Most of the time we're not. Humans are empathetic in spirit. Most of the time. Annex Minor. These shattered ruins of a once proud city. The official stance of the Holy See is that it was a settlement of heretics raised to the ground by Hydaelyn in an act of divine retribution. The scholars disagree on the historical accuracy of this interpretation. Okay, so we all agree that a variant dungeon for Ishgard would be awesome if we explored, like, Dravanian ruins, right? Like, that'd be cool as shit. That's already the case. Most of Europe has a one time zone. 8 a.m. is different for Spain and Sweden. You get used to those differences, just awkward returns. What? Crepe, talking about Western Europe, that's like talking about the United States. Like, yeah, United States having one time zone wouldn't be that big of a deal. But when you're dealing with people in Tokyo, it is a big deal. Like, if you're, like, here. Let's just talk about the EU compared to US. This is the shape of it, right? This is not even including, you know, Hawaii or Alaska, right? This is not the same thing as using the world where, you know, I mean, it's already a pain in the ass when we, you know, with me and Ray having to work with each other's time zones, right? That's nothing to say about continuing that trend further along. Whenever I want to play or do stuff with my friends in Japan, it's a huge deal. It's a huge hassle. You also have to fight the right end on Leviathan hard. That's true, Fem. Yeah, that's true. You're right. Really, is the only difference in EX effectively the breaking of the railings? Is that really it? Annex Trine, I got that. 100 throws, 29.6. Man, it's crazy to me that it took me more than a year or two of playing this game to realize that every dungeon theme was just the map theme. That blew my mind. Honestly, Stray was a fun game, but yeah, the difficulty curve was a bit wonky. Yeah, I haven't played it, so I can't. I mean, I played a little, but only to check it. I didn't get through all of it. We said problems, yes, but less problem than now. I don't agree with that. Trying to communicate, like, if I say 8 and you say 8, but that means I'm asleep and you're awake, that's... There's no way to check that other than, like, oh, but does that work for you? Like, it doesn't... That time doesn't communicate anything. The usefulness of communicating what a time is to tell you from a relative standpoint, like, what it is for me and what it is for you. Just being on one unified coordinated one doesn't help. It makes communication harder, not easier. And if you make us on one coordinated one and then do like what we have like UTC, you know, then you're just back to time zones effectively. Like, especially if you're constantly working with people in other time zones or communicating with them, I'll just say like it sucks to translate them for sure, but it also is that even if we were on the same coordinated one, we would then still have to take the time to explain what that time meant for each of us, right? Like, so you're just back to same issue, the same problem still exists. Lynn, good to see you, glad to have you. I need to grab the Endwalker ones real quick, Ray. Yeah, I near the Ultima Thule one. The Hundred Throws. The rushing river has all but swallowed these ancient ruins at the base of some all, which now serve as a nest to all manner of beastkin who would find sustenance in its waters, and the dragons who find sustenance in said beastkin. So here's my pitch, right? Here's my pitch. I don't think this actually works because I don't think that's a doorway. But imagine that this was like a doorway or something. And there's a variant dungeon where you like go out to the ruins of like Dravanian ruins. I mean, to be fair, you could like find Dravanian ruins and you know what? A variant dungeon that was the Eastern Highlands would also work really well, and you could find Dravanian ruins out there. That totally works too. Oh man. Or maybe even the southern part of the Western. Well, no, because I guess actually the southern part of the Western Highlands, because the Western Highlands was just unified into. But no, dude, I guess if the Eastern Highlands is a variant dungeon, would also work really well, especially after having played 1.0. I might catch up on you guys. A variant dungeon for Eastern Lowlands. Sorry, Lowlands, not Highlands. Yes, good. Yeah, infinite. I can confirm are the nicest. If there's a piece of content that you enjoy and are passionate about in 14, at least in my case, I'm happy to show new players how to do their thing and hope that they enjoy it too. Yeah, and I think that's the majority. It's not everyone, but I think it is the majority. Yeah, I can see how they designed the trials based on players' expected skill increase. Yeah. I grew up in the boom of quest computer games, and those can completely lock you out of completing the game with a single tough enough puzzle. Yeah. I grew up in that time too, Infinite. Yeah. Variant dungeon for Eastern Lowlands. I also vote to unify the time zones. I feel like that is... I feel like people who are voting to unify the time zones, my response is I feel like that works well enough when you're within a 3-hour difference. I feel like I don't know what you're expecting to be that to solve when you're talking about people operating in different times. See you, Crepe. It's not fair for me to make the argument when Crepe's not around to push back anymore. I want to learn healing, yet I'm too scared to do so. I'm more scared of trying to heal than when I first tried tanking. It's not that bad, Raven. Honestly, is healing worse than tanking? I'll let you guys decide that. I need to get water. I don't, yeah. I'll let you get it. Okay. You can't even get people to junk the stupid summertime hour difference that nobody likes. Yeah, I guess the realistic likelihood of actually getting that to do is, yeah. I'm a Formula 1 fan, so I know the pain of time zones all too well. Yeah. I need to stay up well into midnight to even visit book club, so I can agree, yeah. I won't be doing it right now. I want to focus on doing I want to finish the at least Dravanian Four Lands thingy mover. Oh. Sarah, good to go. How you do? I'm doing okay. Well, that's not true. I say that reflexively because I'm so used to. I'm still struggling. It's funny, as long as I keep up the momentum a little bit of like talking to you guys, it's easier to feel okay, but whew, stop for 1 second. Yeah, I'd like to see the Eastern Highlands. Yeah, the Eastern Dravania I think would be a really good variant dungeon. People would just like their day between like hours 12 to 20 instead of hours 9 to 17. But that the sun is in a physical different spot around the earth. My point, if you unify the time, there will be one half of the earth that will be asleep and another half that will be awake that are both at 12, whatever that, my point is that you still have to communicate a difference in the literal physical sun being on opposite sides of the planet. I find healing more stressful than tanking. Healing is worse than tanking, in my opinion. I'd argue that healing is worse than tanking. Interesting. The amount of people globally speaking who have to coordinate across time zone is minuscule compared to the amount of people who don't and who rely on time to make sense relative to things like sunrise, sunset. Now there's a good argument. I also don't think that that's as true as you think it is if you count the business world. However, well, I guess from a relative standpoint, I've never heard this part of the song before. I didn't realize if you let it play long enough, it turned into this. Did you guys know about this? It's your favorite part, Shadow? I don't think I've ever heard it. To be fair, I don't spend a ton of time in the Foreland without the music changing, so. Kiko loves that part of the song, too. Yeah. I have comment now. I can take you around. Yeah, okay. So I'll finish up the 4 lands, and then we can go do that, Ray. Here, let me pull up my list. Halo 8-6. That should probably be down here, right? Or no. Up. The question is that going to be in? Yeah, it's got to be in there. Okay. But yeah, Lynn, I think that is a great counterpoint to everything I'm saying, which is that the amount of people affected, relatively speaking. However, I would say the amount of here's my counter to that point: the amount of people affected in the business world and beyond by the gross struggle of communication with like time of day that they can't, like, you know, PMs and or like hour of day of sleep versus not, is a greater frustration and conflict than someone being an hour or 2 hour different. I might be wrong about that, so, but that would be my one counterpoint. But I definitely think that that's definitely the strongest by far thing against what I'm saying. Fine. Yeah, it seems like universally you guys think healing is more stressful. That's funny. I find healing pretty easy, but then again, I don't heal in Savage. But most of you guys don't heal in Savage either. Because healing most of the time is just keep up your regens, throw on some, if you're a shield healer, throw on some shields. Whereas, like, especially as tanking, if you're pulling wall to wall, actually, like, oh, I bet I have to pray for this one. Halo. This ancient altar sits at the fiery depths of Morn, once adorned by statues depicting a girl and a dragon. Only the latter has survived to the present age. Lift your eyes above the structure, and the base of the floating peak of some all can be seen. Interesting. The Shiva has been burned away. Did they... I don't remember. Did they explain how you actually get from down here up to the base of some all? Do you fly up? Is it a teleporter? Painted My Hills is one of my favorite songs. Yeah, Nure? I wasn't expecting so much love for it. I think my love for it has increased, having done a lot of some all of late, and just like appreciating it being the like more chill version of it for sure. Healing is harder than tanking. Healing, I think, has more going on, but not necessarily harder than tanking. That's an interesting point, Fate. I think the thing, too, for me is probably I'm comparing healing where you're getting by to tanking perfectly instead of treating perfect healing with perfect tanking. Because I'm used to, like, full pull wall-to-wall and maximizing correct usage of mitigation. And that's probably why I'm... Whereas, like, you can probably get... The thing is as a tank... Okay, here's a thought, and I think you guys might agree with me on this. As a tank, you may be playing somewhat incorrectly, but your healer can make up for it. But as a healer, if your tank is playing incorrectly, you need to make up for it. So that might be part of where it is. Like the buck ultimately shouldn't, but does kind of stop with you. So I can understand why that might be stressful for most people. Whereas I don't. We already did Hailfeather, so Soam All is 11-13. That's probably 11-13. Probably outside of it. Unifying the times doesn't mean to me making everyone to be awake at the same time. It just means that everyone has a consistent time for scheduling. Right, you're missing what I'm saying though, Oblivion. My point is that if you schedule... My point is that most people are still going to operate by the rising and setting of the sun to some extent. Some relative extent. And if you make 8 for someone... if 8 is really late in the morning for someone, or really late in the evening for someone really early in the morning, it then isn't useful as a determiner of time because you don't know, or you don't have the information to communicate back and forth with another person the relative difference, when that difference is actually going to matter if it's a great enough disparity. Because, for instance, you know that 12 now is going to be afternoon. You might know someone's 12 might be different than your 12, but if you just say 8, and it's 8 for both people, but for some people 8 is their lunch break, and for other people it's they're off work. It then becomes useless from a business standpoint. But maybe I'm just too focused on that. People wanting to unify time zones, but they need an elementary to align a time zone before they ensure accessibly unification. Yeah. Healing is harder than tanking. Yeah, the tanking is a buff named having a shit ton of HP and damage reduction. Yes, but you're also taking all the damage. It's as you aren't as much of a control of situations. Yeah. Like, would you all trust me being a doctor after all I jobs? I mean, you can heal pretty well as a conjurer. Our Greyhound just tried to sit on my laptop like a cat. Good girl. Soam All. Of all the mighty peaks that comprise Abalathia's spine, none rise higher than Soam All, the highest point in all of Eorzea. It is held as a sacred land by the dragons who are said to journey here when they feel their life slipping away. Formed not of stone, but solid crystal, the massive mountain floating above the ground below is a marvelous sight to behold. Man, it's really good that there are no primals up there trying to summon a... Like, can you imagine if the Moogles were trying to summon King Mogmog up there? Because they'd have a lot of access to crystals, I'll tell you what. Actually, that's a lot of crystal. Well, the Mother Crystal probably was bigger and stronger. But I was going to say, like, why didn't Xenos just gorge himself on Soam All? You know? Just a thought. Wilhelm River, 2339. We had 2319. Oh, okay. I suck ass at sight reading mechanics. Tank makes mechanics a lot harder to sight read because you're basically inside the boss at all times, but also allows you to survive a lot more mechanics. Yeah, it also super depends on the type of content you're doing, I'm sure, yeah. Being not okay is also okay. True. I'd say tanking is worse because people can do that in your stead while that's not your task. Besides, Physic and Vercure, I don't think anyone can step in healer's role. Please stick to your role. Well, you do have, there's a certain amount that, as tanking you have a limited capability with Gunbreaker having Aurora, not really as much with Dark Knight. I mean, you have Abyssal Drain, but and then strongest example is Paladin with Clemency, and then you have a couple options with, but not as quite active options with Warrior. 23. That's weird. Should be around here somewhere. Man, why is... Do I have, like, field of view turned down or something? Or, not field of view. Level of detail. Or just the level... You take a couple days away from the game and you forget how bad the pop-in is. Wait, how do I even... Can I use lookout while on the bike? No. Climb up from the river. Oh, that's some jank. That's Willoam River. When asked to explain the origin of its name, the local hunters usually say that while the river courses with tranquility in the present day, it once ran scarlet with the blood of the Dravanians and their foes. Those who fraternize with the dragons refute this interpretation, asserting that instead the river is symbolic of the passage of time since the sorrowful parting of paths between man and dragon. Wait, is Willoam like a... Willoam. The wistful eyes with which one, right. Formerly in the past. The river of the past. Former, erstwhile. Huh.
Wylam.
Wylam. So, river of days gone past, river of time past, of... Cool. If you get rid of time zones, you have to use a 24-hour clock. Yeah, I see no problem with it. I mean, a 24-hour clock I don't think would necessarily be a problem. Okay, but time, sunrise, sunset doesn't really matter. The sun sets anywhere between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. in a lot of the world. Yeah, but a lot of the world interacts in a place where there's a much bigger discrepancy with that. Like, the difference between my time and my friend's time in Tokyo, I'm thinking is like, what, 15, 13 hours? Right? Like, it's a big distinction. I did because I don't have zone battle themes. Okay, Tam, interesting. Yeah, I love it when Painted Hills comes on my playlist. All that experience from the musical streams, wasted. It's not wasted. The musical streams taught me lots. I just didn't remember this part in specific. Healers have to account for DPS, tanks doing mechanically correct, while tanks can just focus on themselves and enemies. Sure, but we also have a full relatively speaking, a full rotation, whereas healers have 2 damage buttons, effectively. I mean, that's not true. I mean, like, say, just, like, how many you have, Phlegmas here. But you also have, like, an actual rotation you're doing. And also, using mitigation correctly is you press a mitigation. Like, a lot of people treat tanking as, especially if you've only ever done dungeon tanking, as all the mitigation options are roughly the same. You just press one, and you press another. And that's not really true. Like, the difference in using mitigation appropriately and the fact that they're not additive but multiplicative means that you actually have to be very intelligent about using them correctly. Look, no one's going to be surprised I'm going to bat for tanks. I'm a tank main. What can I say? Lost that fast. I'm upset with the music of zones since I like it. Park myself in zones while I write. Yeah, I've definitely fallen in love with the zones music more and more and more. And definitely those musical streams did a lot for me to greatly enjoy the music of the entire game even more, for sure. Lost Asphath. Where? Ah, there you are. This music always sounds like a Zelda theme to me. I don't know why. Does anybody else get that from Lost Asphath? Come out from the main colony. Cast out from the main colony, a minority of Nath known as the Non-Minds built Loth Astavath as a sanctuary for other exiles. The word Vath is derogatory in the Nathic tongue, referring to those who can no longer link their thoughts to the Overmind. Possessed of individual personalities unlike their one-mind brothers, the Vath learned to live with each other's differing thoughts in the makeshift colony. Here, I'll play that music again real quick. Well, actually, catch up. Healers have to account for DPS and tanks doing mechanics correctly, while tanks can just focus on them. I mean, tanks have to focus on DPS and actually do we also have mechanics that you guys don't have. If you heal long enough, you run into tanks that don't and DPS that don't do mechanics. Yeah. I've lost track of some of the combos, but as someone who works with global workforce, and deals with time zones, having a single time zone across the world wouldn't help much, in my opinion. Calling it 6 a.m. or 8 p.m. doesn't actually change when people sleep or work, and we just make simple translation applications that convert time zones to make it easier to work and understand. Yeah. Ryan, good to go to have you. If only we were tightly locked, we wouldn't have time zone problems. I don't mind healing or tanking, but not my preferred role with a group of all strangers. Yeah. I mean, tanking's just always gonna be... Dude, whenever I don't tank, something bad happens whenever I don't tank, and I'm just like, never again. I can't play DPS. I can play healer. Healing I'm okay with. That's so funny. I'm not usually a control freak, but apparently here I am. It's like we already said about Savage. The hardest part really is just finding when people's schedules align. Good call, V. I gorged myself on some random fucking mountain in Dravania. It doesn't have the same ring to it as I gorged myself on the remains of the Mother Crystal. Yeah, definitely Oblivion. This implies that Physic heals more than an accidental and ingested book. Yeah, Physic is vestigial. That is the correct word for Physic. I tried launching 14 and has decided to not work today. Aw, that sucks, Oblivion. AR sightseeing vlogs are jank like that. AR sightseeing vlogs are worse though, Dest, because they don't have the orb. At least you can see the orb. Lookout on the Black Iron Bridge is a bitch. This is true, except for when playing Warrior. Reminds me of the jungle area in Majora's Mask. Yeah. Yeah. Like the Deku area. Oh, okay. Ray's waiting to help me out, so I should try to actually finish this up. Hissing Cobbles, 3415. That's the thing with the Overlook. I bet that's where the one I was trying to find earlier was. And then the Dane Road, which is 1832. If I had been smart, I would have tried to tie these together based off their proximity. $34.50. That looks like a place where I would put a... Huh. Also, wait, you can go in here? Can you go down? Oh, hey, whoa! Well, look at that. $34.15. Is it... Oh, is it way high up? Oh, that would have been cool. Did I already get this one? No. Also, why is the Willem River not in here? Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, I did get this one already. That's why. Still doesn't unlock the sightseeing log. You know what? I ain't giving anyone shit anymore. Especially, I haven't been able to play that much past a little bit. But I would say go do it. It's very quick, and it's worth doing. Cool little bits. You can learn plenty. I started tanking with strangers. I still get a little nervous, but that's slowly getting better. And that's the truth. The truth is you gotta just get a little bit outside the comfort zone. I mean, like, the thing with healing and with tanking, I'm gonna say something dumb, but just learn conceptually everything you need to know. Like, okay, I understand this is what I need to do. and then just work on it. Like, you may not be able to do it perfectly right away, but if you know what you're supposed to be doing and you get it wrong, you can be like, hey, sorry, I did this wrong, or I know what I fucked up. Can I, you know? And you can find plenty of places to learn conceptually, whether from people in this community or online, or... And if you're unwilling to look up, like, how to play a job or something, then that is the problem more than, like, people being not nice or something. Like, there should be never a reason that you're not willing to, like, search out information or ask if you need help. The road leading to Annexed Shrine was originally called Drawn Urn, which roughly translates to the path of dragon and man. Due to the difficult pronunciation, the road became known as the Dane Road over time, and its profound meaning was forgotten by all the Dravanians. Oh, that's cool. I bet you that was a Koji bit of information. I know that Koji one is kind of like the resident dragon tongue master, but also he loved doing stuff like that. Like what's oh, there's another good example in here. Is it Ruby Tide, Bronze Rasen Kyaikyo? Where is it? There's there is a river. Maybe it's listed in... There's a river somewhere in here that's like something Kawa. And it's like the Kawa River, which is, if you know, Kawa means river in Japanese. And it's like, that's a thing that happens in the real world all the time. Something like that. Okay, I think that's all of the 4 lands. Okay, guys, who's ready to whisper? By that, I mean cry profusely. Let us meet in the Thools of the Ultimate. I also may need to do some quests, because I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, let me. Aether Currents. Do I have the quest done? No, okay. I need all the Aether Currents as well. I remember, I don't think I've like actually been an Ultimate Tool with the music on for a while. Actually, I'm gonna take a second. Sorry guys, you're gonna have to put up with the fact that I feel emotions. I know you hate it. Okay. Am I okay? Yeah. Just very, the music's just always very emotional to me. It still means a lot to me. And I never made a video talking about all my feelings about Endwalker. Maybe I should at some point. I know I did End Talkers with Niniri and still needs to be finished. I was gonna schedule a bunch of time with Niniri and then this happened, but no, I just, not only did Endwalker happen as an important point in my life, but like thematically with this song and what the greater part of the story represents just means a lot to me. Represents a lot of themes and things I stand for. And I don't give a shit if you think it's cringe. I don't know, most of you guys don't care, but makes me feel emotions. I'm a sucker for a story that accepts the horrible things that man can do to each other, but also embraces the abject desire for the best of us and for it in each other. Okay. Oh, I see we got a comment over at Base Omicron. So I love the music and all the album makes me tear up a bit. And maybe that's a good thing. Initiating trade protocol. This unit is programmed to trade for bicolor gemstones, so this unit does not understand what value they hold. Okie dokie. Oh, it looks like Ray got finished the Walt Disney Arsenal on the... Looks like Ray might be AFK. Oh, nope. Shall we then? Hi-ho, Silva! Away! I still haven't picked up a I struggle on DPS way more than tanking or healing, yeah. My tank anxiety went down a lot more once I realized that most people don't care all that much about one wipe, right? Like, it just happens sometimes. Yeah. Especially if it's, like, one wipe and it's understandable. Especially if you say, hey, I'm sorry, I know that was me. Like, if you accept fault, especially if you're at fault, most people are gonna be like, oh, okay. What people get frustrated by is when shit like that happens and they're afraid it's just going to happen again, right? I think that's what a lot of people are more afraid of. Oh, I should check if Ray's talking to me. Because I'm not mistaken. Oh no, okay. Here, I'll just. I need 5, 6, 7, 9. There you go. Oh no, I'm stuck on the AR one, especially since you have to collect first 20 before you can collect any others, yeah. If you're part of 14 are the zones you can only reach on fly mount, like the building under the bridge in Hydaelyn. Yeah. Which is fun, because I don't think that used to have collision until they did the 5.3. I haven't unlocked either, but I'm playing through Hildebrand right now. Nice! How you liking it, Ryan? I still haven't picked up a DPS class. I can handle healing because I know I've done my job right if nobody's dead, and I can go tanking because, well, I know I've done my job right if I'm not dead. Hey, as long... Yeah, I mean, DPS is interesting because you have, in a sense, less responsibility that can be actively seen, but you have a huge amount of responsibility in terms of, like, doing as much damage as possible. As long as you're not like the person who started a party finder for an EX fight as going for the clear, and when we got in, they had no idea how markers worked for clock spots, light parties, duo stacks. That's interesting. Wipe once shouldn't even be an issue. Repeating wipes, on the other hand. I will say, if I'm in a dungeon and we wipe, I do get a little miffed. I don't say anything, obviously, and I'm not gonna get upset at someone, but I am like, come on, dungeons aren't that hard. But no, it's really not that big a deal. I'm just a cranky old man who likes to go fast. My first dungeon back after my 3 to 4 month break from 14 was a level 83 dungeon. We wiped a good few times, but thankfully the party was chill about it. And that's the thing. Most people are going to be pretty chill, especially if you accept fault and say, hey, I'm a little bit rusty or something like that. Just, I beseech you, if you aren't doing that, and like, if you're come back and you're a little bit rusty, just say you're a bit rusty. You just say you're a bit rusty. And if someone's a dick about it, fuck them. There's no need to be rude. It's okay for someone to be like, you know, ask if you need help and try to, and you should accept it. But look, the reality is you can always, at the very least, just like vote abandon or something. There's just no need to be a dick. At least that's my ethos. Also, like the one time I got into twinning my friend healer and we got a tank bot, it was a travesty. To be fair, it wasn't always entirely my fault. Yeah, tank bot. I wish we could select what version of the music we got out here. Like, I'd love to have the second to last version with full instrumentals, but not the vocals. Yeah. There's close in the distance, echoes in the distance, I think. The fact that you can't get echoes in the distance ever again is a little sad. That would be cool. Is that all of them? We still need 5. You okay, Elioux? Yeah. The best advice I can give you about DPS is read your tooltips and always be casting. Even if the casting is 100%, you'll still be doing damage. Yeah. The problem is, I think, with DPS is that if you want to be actually good at DPS, you do need to know, like, what your rotation is. You don't need to be perfect, but if you're, like, if you really know your rotation as a starting point, that's a good place to start. Thank you, Ray Ray. Through you we live. Still love the music and all the tool, but it makes me tear up. It's a perfect week for me crying for me, but I'm also ironically love close to the distance. Yeah, beating the Blood Disney or Snowball still having an NA status is a flex. Yeah, beating the Blood Disney or Snowball being a sprout. I'm pretty sure it is 1, 2, 3, 4, just like the number on my luggage. Sorry, give me a second. Okay. Someone changed. Unless you're playing Machinist, then you just gotta pray your ping is low in your Overlord burst. Yeah. I'm loving Hildy. It's hilarious as I thought it was gonna be. Good. Actually, most of the mechanics are DPS dependent, which is funny. Most dungeon wipes I have nowadays because I tried hitting Benediction too late. Actually, benning myself instead of the tank. Also, yes, Spliv Tank Boy. He's moved so straight, literally was seeing him nav mesh. He completely ignored boss mechanics using the Holy Crown. Speaking of tanking, I also need to learn how to in WoW with how my guild wants me to try after letting it slip that I tank in 14 now. Yeah, just keep the aggro, you know, most of the time. It ain't so different, other than there not being tank stance. And if I ever saw any player moving exactly in a line in the middle of the twinning walkways, you okay? I do have water, Deathberry. Yeah. No. How I would describe it is most of the time, like when I walk up the stairs currently, I get winded, so I like a physical tired component, and then I have a lot of brain fog, and a lot of like constant like brain static. And right now talking to you guys is it's been a lot better actually. I don't know if this is distracted or if I'm focused or what. But it's still, yeah. And don't worry, I'm not overexerting myself. This is what it's like even if I'm just laying in bed. It's actually better currently, probably because I'm slightly more mentally engaged. I know I tried doing some work and just trying to like do video editing or writing without like talking or like engaging with you guys or bouncing off you guys was really, really hard. So that was kind of a no-go. The past couple of days, whenever I've been out of bed, it's basically just been me. Frankly, like in this chair, kind of just playing either like kind of sometimes just sitting in the chair just so I'm not in bed, but also like I've been doing like Elden Ring to relax a little bit, just things that are like non-multiplayer, just because I need to take a lot of breaks. Like this is the most active I've been by far a lot in the past couple weeks. But yeah, I'll be okay. Just hopefully presumably long COVID just passes. Whew, okay. How fortunate that you are here, corporeal being, for we are in need of your assistance. I am sure you saw of my kind drifting about the untamed wilds, just over there, as I understand. They are binding their spirits together as one, in hopes of diluting their consciousness and thereby erasing their sorrows. Unfortunately, the resulting amalgam doubtless longs for more minds to incorporate, and if other Ea approach it, we may be drawn into the growing mass against our will. Your corporeal form seems to outweigh your mental capacity, so you should be safe. However, please destroy the collective consciousness before it kills us all. Your ready acceptance gladdens me. I believe that if you lay waste to wandering souls, the amalgam will appear. Do be aware that while your mind is safe, it may present other dangers should it realize what you are attempting. Hydrate, don't dihydrate. That's a new one. I like that. Raven, don't tank and wow. It's nothing but pain. Well, looks like Ray Ray may have thoughts. You know, it's funny, I think I've talked about this even before when I played through this second time for the MSQ, but when I first got here and heard the music in its fullness, it really, I felt it very deeply. And it was sad, but, you know, and I appreciate, I was really happy for that moment and really glad for this small moment, but I knew then, I'm like, all I hoped was that hearing this song would never become blasé. You know, it's just like, oh yeah, I loved it so much, and then it's like, oh yeah, that thing in the background, you know, it's always that, oh, I still like it, but whatever, you know, it's like, and you know, like, you can never hold on to the moment, they always pass, and maybe that this song never means quite as much to me as it did then, but I do appreciate that it still does mean something. Also, maybe kind of ironic, or maybe fitting, I guess is more appropriate, that wanting to hold on to the moment beyond when it needs to end, Endwalker as a story, I feel like, is in such contrast to it is about a story about letting go and a story about holding on, to be fair. That's beautiful. I see you made quick work of the amalgam. Of course, it was well within each of Ea's rights to choose when they wish to end their own existence, but to force others to join them, however accidentally, is another matter. This whole ordeal has led me to contemplate how I should meet my own demise. But forgive me, I forgot such matters are not left to choice for your kind. Truthfully, I envy you, to go forth each day full of vigor, not knowing when your lives will be unexpectedly snuffed out. Must feel incredible. My apologies if I have made you uncomfortable. I am unused to speaking with mortals. Be assured that I appreciate your help, and you have given me much to think about regarding death, or perhaps life. Yep, Echoes in the Distance is the track on the OST. Yeah. And I don't... It's Echoes in the Distance instrument. I'm trying to remember, because technically speaking, the first song and the second song are also different, but it might just be a second movement in Echoes of the Distance. It might just be... it might just be all labeled under Echoes in the Distance. I forget how it works. I main tanked in WoW, can agree, only pain and suffering waits. Tanking WoW as being a sitting duck for a very uncooperative warlock or hunter. I like tanking WoW, I just didn't like tanking with other players in WoW. And I love that the quest accepts music change each expansion. Yes! You're looking forward to Dawn Trail? Oh, you know what? I just want to play this again because like I really love it. The musical... So Dawn Trail has 3... And I know this is an impromptu kind of music stream thing, but I do want to talk about this just because I think it's really interesting. Dawn Trail trailer. Dawn Trail has a couple of musical themes. So we've got... So this is one of the musical themes, like one of the primary musical themes. Then there's what I think might be... This might be the actual combat theme. This like for when we go into fights. Okay, and then there's obviously this part. Okay, so so we have the combat theme, 2 of the main themes. There's also a 3rd theme though, and it does show up in the trailer, but I want to pull it out. Hrothgar female trailer. You can hear it in a couple places, but the big one you can hear it in is in the Hrothgar female trailer, and this is my favorite by far. So if you listen, you can hear part of the main theme in the background. Here's what's interesting, though. That theme you can hear later on in this.
There. Look, my friends. Behold the scene of our next great adventure.
You and your adventures. I trust you have not forgotten the true purpose of our voyage?
This part, it's the same.
You call the new world.
Da 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 da.
Put out.
So.
You have not forgotten the true purpose of our voyage?
Last, we are come to the land you call the new world. My home. Put out.
Yeah, so I don't know where it's going to be used, but that seems to be like one of it's being as part of the main theme as well.
You have not forgotten the true purpose of our voyage?
At last we are come to the land you call the New World. My home. Tura.
Yeah, the music's sounding real good for Dawn Trail. That's all I'm saying. I bet it's Viper trailer music being main battle theme like Gunbreaker 1 was. Yeah, I think I'm fairly certain you're right, Infinite. Can't wait to see what it'll be like. I'm expecting the female vocal part to be a city theme, but kind of like old Charlian theme. Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, because it's interesting because you have Footfalls, Flow, and Close in the Distance are like the three main musical themes in Endwalker. In Shadowbringers, you have the Shadowbringers and Tomorrow. And to an extent, Neath Darkwater as a theme, with To the Edge and Emerald and stuff. You have Revolutions. You have the two movements of Revolutions, plus the like Doman Kugane part of the music. You know, Heaven's Word. You have Heaven's Ward Part A and Part B, and then you also have Dragon Song. You know, so I think those are going to be the three musical parts. The question is that final song like a map theme? What is it? Is that the dungeon version? Is that like the final? All I know is that the song they used for the female Heroth, I was liking the music in Dawn Trail, but that there's something about that like hopeful like movement of like spirit and heroicism that I just love it. I hope they announce the release date at PAX. I gotta imagine we're getting pretty close, and PAX is, you know, I gotta imagine they gotta announce pre-orders at that point. But, well, who knows? Kind of missed WoW a little bit, but there's no way I'm going back to that game. I love DK and DH tanking back in Legion. Tried playing Battle of Azeroth against Battle of Azeroth and just couldn't. Yeah. Imagine Bard that can steal your aggro and keep stealing it even over your stance and provoke. That would be... That's a good way of putting it. Luckily, my brother were using follower dungeons, but the players more likely done a mistake. Use the dang. Thank you, Ray. Yeah. Kind of Nier-esque at the beginning a little bit with the vocals. The theme sounds like a zone or dungeon theme of sort. Definitely. I tried changing my device and got jump scared by Sephiroth trial theme playing in the background the whole time. The Dawn Trail hype is pretty strong at the moment. This has been my first patch cycle. Can't imagine how it would have been in the lead up to Endwalker. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I might just be jaded. And I might just have been, like, because this is my third patch cycle, or third, like, hype cycle. This one, by far, has been the most low-key one. The hype cycle going into Endwalker was insane. Like, I feel like people are really excited for Dawn Trail, but I feel like it's been a little bit more like, everybody's excited, rather than, like, Dawn Trail. To be fair, though, usually that part of it doesn't arrive until about 3 months before launch, or 2 months before launch, so we still have plenty of time for there to be insanity. Remember when Revolutions was Stormblood main theme? Yeah, me neither. Difference is that we're going into a new story instead of finishing 10-year-long story. No question, Oblivion. And also, you don't have as many, there were so many people coming in as from WoW, Exodus, and other stuff after between Shadowbringers and Endwalkers. It was just a different time. And it was coming off of the back of Shadowbringers, you know? Pardon me, advent traveler. I lack the sense of time as perceived by those of finite lifespans. But But might you be able to spare a moment to speak with some of my fellow Ea? It is rare to find one so unmarred by the scars of deepest wisdom. Your appearance and perception as an outsider differs so much from our own that I wonder if a degree of interaction might prove stimulating for both parties. Sure, why not? Much obliged. I shall mark the location on your map. They tend to spend considerable time frequenting their usual haunts. And Walker was the build-up conclusion to your story. Yeah. I should have said this first. I don't think it is a bad thing that Dawntrail's hype cycle is a little bit more low-key. I think it's actually kind of a healthy thing. And frankly, I don't think it's from lack of a lot of people being really excited and a lot of people who are going to be really enjoy Dawntrail. In general, hype isn't that great. People being excited is good. And yes, there's a difference. So the problem with hype is it tends to also build expectation, and it also tends to it's much easier to let someone down with hype. Whereas I feel like I see a lot more people who are just like, oh, I'm excited for Dawntrail, which I think people tend to be a lot happier with the end product, good, bad, or in between, if that's the case. Oh, you must be the traverser from beyond who has been causing quite the stir around our abode. What stroke of luck! In fact, I had been hoping I might have the opportunity to exchange thoughts with you and your companions. For you see, I have for too long whiled away my days in listless banality, drifting waywardly as my mental faculties dulled and slowed. I so longed to strike up stimulating conversation with the traveler, yet for so long, none would pay me a visit. I did not think I would be empathizing and connecting deeply with an Ea, but really this feels like my current state of being, so thank you all for being travelers along my way that I can talk to. That said, never imagined you would have such a strange physical form. Pray tell, how do you keep your balance? What keeps your innards from spilling out through one of the multiple orifices in your body? Oh, but pardon me. Truly, I meant no offense. Clearly, life in your world found this shape to be suitable, perhaps even necessary, for your survival. Perhaps our own original forms were equally horrifying. If I finished Shadowbringers and was leading into Endwalker, I would have been antsy as fuck for Endwalker to come out. Yeah. I finished Shadowbringer patches 2 weeks before Endwalker dropped, so I didn't get to experience that much of the hype lead up. I mean, look, you got to experience Endwalker right away, so the game itself is better than the hype lead up. Ea sound like monophilia. Mono Ea. I'm excited to see what comes, but agree hype build's impossible to meet expectations. And the thing is that, it's not even that, how to put it, that's definitely part of it, but it's like, I have seen people who are hyped for something, got what they wanted, and still were unsatisfied because of hype. Hype can be bad just because even if you get 10 out of 10, part of you wanted 11, you know? How curious, an unfamiliar corporeal life form calls out to me as I wait in vain for the inevitable coming of the end. This is indeed the chance of a lifetime, mayhap of many lifetimes, and so I pose to you this question. Tell me, traveler, what is the true nature of life and the universe? Anybody pick this? Because I'm curious what he says if you put that in. But I kind of... Sorry, I gotta be heartfelt. An eternal adventure. It would seem you still have much to learn, and yet I almost envy your blissful ignorance. It reminds me of feelings that I and my kind have long since forgotten. Yeah, if someone wants to use T-Tools to look it up. Dawn Trail seems to be an opportunity that not a lot of media properties ever really get. A chance to relax and lower the stakes again to allow it to build back up. Yeah. Now, I do think that Dawn Trail is going to have like a major conflict, don't get me wrong, but I definitely agree that like a natural point to do that at long last. So much of the unending journey is... Oh, so much of Ultimate Thule is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy references. I mean, look, that is the time to do it, to be fair. Literally a spatial... out in the distant sea of stars at the edge of existence, you find an existentialist manifestation of all people's emotions. That's some Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy bullshit right there. Although I guess a little less funny. Hmm? What a curious being you are. Have my peers discovered how to regain the corporeal forms while I remained lost in thought? No. Of course not. Come to think of it, I wonder if we ever possessed the peculiar form that you now do. Oh dear. I fear this always happens when I delve in deep into such ruminations. The very moment I attempt to regain clarity, it triggers this most unpleasant reaction. If my fellow Ea have not found a way for us to require our corporeality, perhaps it falls to me to mediate further upon the matter. In any event, pray, lead me to my cognations. Why precisely? That is the very conclusion I arrived at myself. How heartening and surprising. I dare say to meet one of as enlightened as myself. That's very good. I think I picked that on Lend when I first came here. Building a restaurant at the end of the universe. Yeah, literally building a restaurant at the end of the universe. Yeah. Well, it's been fun, but we're calls. Cheers, Shadow. I noticed when I was redoing Ultimate Thule over the weekend. Tribe Quest, on the other hand, is Hitchhiker's Guide, full stop. Yeah, to be fair, that is where they actually let the humor fully come out, too. Did you just kill my barista? Did you encounter my acquaintances? I can only hope that they derived the sense of stimulation from conversing with you as myself did. For if so, we may have yet to discover a means to maintain the moratorium known as death. Until that time, should you ever be in the mood for discussions on the profound and inevitable meaninglessness of the universe, we will be here, waiting. Yes, always waiting. Hi-ho, Ray-Ray! Away! Oh, Deathberry, if you have not done the tribal quests for Endwalker in general, they are all phenomenal, but in particular, the Loporrit and the Omicron ones are. And you know what? I don't think I've started the Omicron ones on Elioaux, so let's go ahead and definitely do that today, because I kind of want to cry, and if we go to Elysium on Elioaux, it's gonna make me feel things. You have a gatherer? Yes. Well, I've had max level gatherers and crafters for a while, cause I something inside of me is broken, and I always max level crafters and gatherers right away, despite the fact that I don't really craft or gather. Initiating communications. This unit requests your participation in Omicron combat simulations. Care to explain? 98.8% of the past 12,359 sessions have produced the exact same results. Thus, an unknown quantity such as yourself is required. An Omicron aggressor is positioned outside the base. This unit has instructed said opponent to record all combat session data. You may initiate your assault when your preparations are complete. Are you looking for more of a pummeling or a pulverizing or a uncertainty detected? Reviewing previous transmission. Verbal analysis suggests that the unit has been omitted crucial information regarding the current mission. This unit begs your pardon. Once you have nearly destroyed the aggressor, you are requested to activate this device, which will automatically transfer combat data to a convenient portable format. Initiating handover protocol. Sending coordinates. Per the transmission you have just received, the opponent is located on the planar frame extending from this space. Reconfigure emotional state to grateful. This unit thanks you for your cooperation. Which one needs crafters, my problem? Yeah. To be fair, you only need to be level 80 to do them on crafters, and also leveling one crafter to level 80 you can do right now in like an hour. Easy. Like, not even a question. Combat evolved. Yeah. Looking for a Stigma Dreamscape, or did... Oh, actually, I haven't done Stigma's Dreamscape either. Yeah, we can definitely do that. The problem is I may not be able to do... I've actually been doing a lot more reading and talking than I was expecting. So the problem is Stigma Dreamscape has, I think, quite a few dialogues around it. Assistance requested. This unit has observed a curious phenomenon in which certain members of enemy factions have exhibited a marked increase in their combat capabilities. Analysis suggests that said members share unique intraspecific bonds with others in their faction. These individuals were conferred titles such as consort and family. The unit detected no difference in physiology that would provide notable advantages in combat, yet the presence of intraspecific bonds alone led to an increase in performance. Records indicate that one member of a bond group exhibits the exponential improvement when others are eliminated. This is funny because this is what Omega tried to do to us as well. Potential benefits of such augmentation are projected to be immense. Thus, this unit's query: are you familiar with the aforementioned phenomena? This is fortunate, as the unit has constructed a consort for research purposes. You are asked to delineate the method by which this unit might form an intraspecific bond with said consort. Requesting standby at present coordinates. Initiating consort retrieval. Does anyone find it deeply ironic that this Omicron is trying to understand what gives us the ability to go above and beyond, and it is Dynamis, or, well, to an extent, Dynamis and Limit Break, while being fully constructed itself of said energy? Activating introduction. This unit presents the aforementioned consort. At present, its capabilities are comparable to subordinate patrol units. How should we proceed? Well, you need to grow closer first. Synonym detected. Initiating semantic review. Closer. 1. Suggest obtaining near physical proximity to the target than at present. This unit will move towards the consort in an attempt to develop the desired interspecific bond. Visual analysis at this range reveals a dent in the target's frame. Estimated impact on functionality and consequence. This unit requests confirmation that such discoveries will result in improved performance. Not like that. Like, metaphorically. Cross-referencing a gesture database. Implication identified as doubtful. Issue new proposal to refer to Omicron as my beloved, simulating the way in which a member of an enemy faction referred to its bondmate. Appellation change confirmed. New designation, my beloved. Reconfiguring emotional status to grateful. This unit appreciates your assistance in facilitating the creation of a special bond with my beloved. Initiating phase 2 of experiment. What exactly is entailed in phase 2? This unit will evaluate whether the destruction of my beloved bears a positive impact on this unit's combat capabilities. Transmitting self-destruct command to my beloved. Analyzing unit status. no change in functionality detected. Possibility of transmission failure estimated at 78%. This unit asks that you confirm that my beloved has successfully executed the self-destruct command. Retrieval of remains also requested. I was working on Gather yesterday and spent several hours in the diadem just getting to 40. Yeah, if you just brute force it in the diadem, that's going to go pretty slow. The main thing you would do is you would, if you only need one crafter leveled, you would just use you'd use your 99 stacks of your allowances for leave quests, and you would just do a whole bunch of leave turn-ins. And you can get from 1 to 90 really quickly. And if you wanted to be a little more efficient for saving time, you could also use custom delivery, your custom delivery turns in, and tribal quests. You also could really easily, for multiple levels, just buy a whole bunch of the items. So for instance, let's say, just a random idea, but let's say you were working on smithing. To go from like 1 to like 10, you could probably just craft a whole bunch of bronze rivets, because bronze ingots would probably be really cheap on the market. Let's just like pick a random. You could if mithril ore, let's say, was really cheap on the market, you could just buy a whole bunch of it and then just synthesize one and then quick synth a whole bunch to like save yourself a little bit time for some level breaks. And then especially once you get to like the 50s and 60s. Because I would save your leaves probably for past there, but I mean you can use them if you needed to. You would be able to like shoot through here to at least 80 pretty easily on one job, and beyond just getting to 80, if you wanted to get a little higher, you could also do custom deliveries and the others. Bronze ingots are sold by vendors. Well, there you go. I'm pretty sure I bought them off the market board cheaper than they are vended, just because people don't know that. Yeah, custom deliveries are more good for going from 80 to 90. That's what they're best saved for. Because the thing about custom deliveries is that even if you do a Heavensward custom delivery, even if you use a like a level the like Heavensward custom delivery will still give you percentage XP, so you don't have to like do the Endwalker XP for like your level 80 or something. You can also buy Skybuilder materials. Yep, that also works. If they're cheaper, that's definitely one way to do it. Yeah, hardest part is the 14 to 50 grind. The way that I bypassed that when I did it on Elioaux is definitely I just did some auto crafting and synthesizing. Yeah. Definitely some dramatic irony going on, yeah. Custom deliveries as well. You know when hilarity ensues when Delta Escape starts playing instead of the Space Whimsy theme? Leaves for fishing giving stupid amounts of XP. The thing is honestly with fishing, you can also just do ocean fishing as well. I don't think I've ever used leaves for gatherers. I've only ever used leaves for crafters, because gatherers are just so easy to level through like a myriad of different ways that are really, 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 really cheap. I mean, free, you know. I did 1 to 20 for all my crafters just standing in my FC. I was buying mats off the material supply and crafting everything for the first time bonus. Yeah. You can also buy a yeah. Requesting retrieval of my beloved. Potential for reconstruction and further experimentation remains high. What remains of the Omicron's consort after it's self-destructed? Here you go. Self-destruct confirmed successful. Sadly, experimental confirmed unsuccess. Sadly, experiment confirmed unsuccessful. Analysis of this unit parameters shows no change in functionality. This unit will consider executing a family simulation after reconsulting enemy faction data, but based on the results of the consort simulation, termination of research may be advisable. Reconfiguring emotional state from disappointed to grateful. This unit thanks you once more for your cooperation. Your proposed methodology may be implemented in future experiments. I do appreciate that in Endwalker and Shadowbringers too. They've like made all the flight quests really quick, and Stormblade to a lesser extent, like really quick, but also really tied into, like, I just think that it's like really smart what they did for each, making it thematically relevant and telling you a little bit about the place, since most people are likely to do it. Reviewing received transmission, analysis suggests the aggressor is no longer operational, requesting return a previously provided recording device. A device containing data from your fight against the Omicron aggressor. For some reason, the screen reads level 90, and its speakers are emitting a jaunty tune. Okay, that's pretty funny. Okay, new canon. Levels in 14 are just the Omicron's designation for our relative power rate. Extraction of combat data completed. And analyzing. Quality of data greatly exceeds expected values and all previously recorded. Reconfiguring emotional state to impressed. Today to suggest you engage the aggressor at close quarters and give it little time to respond. This unit will submit a request to the logistics matrix for the augmentation of emergency escape apparatus. Searching the database for situationally approximate axiom. Only through combat can we improve ourselves. The absence of new challenge results in stagnation. Records indicate this base has not encountered new threats in considerable amount of time. This unit sees potential value in enduring attacks more frequently, though its Discord prevention module is buzzing in most irritating fashion. Ray, are you my Discord prevention module? You prevent? Well, I guess no. You're my Discord access module. Reconfiguring emotional state to grateful. This unit appreciates your cooperation with the collection of combat data. Analysis suggests it will prove invaluable to the further development of base Omicron. I'm still shaken by the fact that level checkers are actually unit designation Gamma. Yeah. For those Ultima Thule Aether Currents. Thank you, Ray, for piloting me around. For those of you who don't know, we were going over this at one of the book clubs, but actually, wait, it shouldn't be this far in. It should be earlier on, shouldn't it? For those who don't know, so there's all the different enemy types. The alpha matrix, the beta unit, and then the gamma unit is the level checker. The autonomous units were initially developed to verify the fidelity of beta unit consciousness data, as their sensors are high quality. However, they have also seen significant use in reconnaissance tasks. There's a delta unit, an eta unit, a lambda unit, the omicron unit, the chi unit, and the omega unit. If you have not checked out EE3, I highly recommend you do. Oh. Oh, hi, Tim. I don't know, Ray. I was trying to say you're my moderator. I don't know. I was just trying to say because he's Discord operation, you know. I meant it as a compliment. Are you drunk? No. I'm not drunk. I'm just suffering mentally. But yes, level checker mount straight up says that it measured you and said that you are level 90. Good, I was going to ask about that. Kai is spawning in 5 minutes, boys. Oh, what map, Tam? On this map? That sigh. Oh, that was just for the meme. Oh, okay. I was excited for a second. I still haven't got to kill it on Elioaux. No, it's okay. Sorry, just give me a second. Okay. Let's go do the Western Highland. The Lost Hydraulic. Yeah, it's good to see you. Glad to have you. Falcon's Nest. Okay, first one. I wish I could put multiple markers on the max map. 32, 36. So I bet you it's like up here or something. Hey, I didn't know you could come. I'm learning all sorts of things about how high you can go in Heaven's Word today. It definitely feels like with Heaven's Word, they're like, hey, we have verticality now. We can use it. Falcon's Nest. From its humble origins as a lonely cluster of barracks nestled in the mountains of western Kurthis, the village of Falcon's Nest grew and prospered until the calamity came and the icy winter took its deathly toll. Its name derives from the falconers who reside there with their snow-white charges, defending their mountain home from the Dravanian threat. It's so interesting because in 1.0, Falcon's Nest was like, how do you Foundation get? I mean, I guess if you fly from here and around, I wish desperately, like all they needed to do really was make like Ishgard like the tip of Ishgard poking up from over here. Because like geographically, since Falcon's Nest is here and there's the bridge isn't, if the bridge is presumably back here, so like it should be that. Because it used to be there was a bridge that led from here to Western Kurthis. And it's fine that they kind of, like, got rid of that because they have Snow Cloak here. And stuff. And, like, the dotted line makes sense. But the problem is that you really should be able to, like, I get that kind of the idea is these mountains are blocking the way or that there's, like, a lot of distance. But, like, especially with how it is in the 1.0 relationship, you really should be able to see, like, the top of Ishgard over one of these mountains. Like, even if it had just been, okay, the only place you can see it is if you go to the 9th Var and, like, went as high as you possibly could. that you could like see the very tip of it over here, like. But as it is, like the relationship between the Western Highland and Ishgard itself is just so vague. What's interesting is actually based on this is that this is actually the relative approximate. I mean, this should be a little lower, but and like Falcon's Nest should be like down here. This is like approximately kind of the relationship between these places. This should be because like this should go straight into here. There should be stuff down here, and Falcon's Nest should be here. It's so weird now having knowledge of what the 1.0 geography was like. Okay. Camp Rivers Meet. That should be right here. Speaking of 1.0, here is a 1.0 right. This used to be a camp. It's also so much funny how much more like lively and actually a place the fucking 14 version of it is compared to the original version, which was just like a tent and this. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad there's a giant ass dragon bones. They're cool and evocative as shit. But one does have to wonder, what dragon was this? Because like we don't the closest thing that we see is like what Varship, whatever the fuck his name is it's an E1. It's Varshnu Parsley. What is it? It's under the dragon section. Vishap from the Battle of the Steps of Faith. Camp Rivers Meet. Once a key military outpost for the Ishgardian forces, this strategic location where the waters of the Swiftrun and Kurthis flow together is home to lone Aetheryte shard, which has stood abandoned in the years since the Calamity. The fake dragon they built is a tourist attraction. I love the idea that, like, Ishgard built it as propaganda. Also, this is interesting, because these, like, bloody crystals would presume they're fire aspected. But where's that energy coming from? Is there, like, geothermal pools? It is, like... They put these crystals here for a reason when they designed up here. Like, they're not elsewhere. And yet, you don't really see... There's no real explanation for them. I wonder if EE1 has an explanation at all. The Watcher. Alamigo. For Alamigo! Save Clouds, Dravanium, Forelands. No, give me that Kurthis Western Highland. Camp Rivers Meet. Red Rim. Red Rim is named for the myriad of scarlet outcroppings jutting out from the land, said to be rich in Uid and roundstone. Uid? No one knows when this enormous worm died, though some assume that the land beneath its bone has eroded over time. The manner in which his head looks to the north gives the impression he died looking out over his kingdom, which is why the locals took to calling him the Watcher. Uid and roundstone. What the fuck is Uid and roundstone? Maybe it's not crystal then. Uid are small, spheroid-coated, later sedimentary grains, usually composed of calcium carbonate, but sometimes made up of iron or phosphate. Huh. Are those stone red crystals the same as the formation in Kurthis Central, just north of More Donuts entrance? Great question. It does look awfully similar to that. However, that formation, didn't that formation arise from Dalamud in part? Okay, let's go check. Bishop, thank you, Infinite. Yes, correct. Trade offer. Falcon's Nest becomes a prosperity location, but Sir Yulmeric becomes mindless zombie lord. That is quite the trade-off, isn't it? I hope the, like, rendering distance of 14 is improved with the graphics update. I don't think that they really, I don't know if they've said anything about that. Can't recall. It definitely looks like the same material. So the question was it caused by the calamity, or was that caused by this was a natural formation that then was wrecked by the tomeliths popping through? These are the questions we ask ourselves. Before the calamity, the Boulder Town was a vast slope lay littered with moraine deposits by realm-swallowing glaciers long receded. The rain of debris that accompanied the fall of Dalamud, however, transformed the landscape into a frozen wasteland, pocketed with gaping impact craters and peculiar dark matter formations. So is that dark matter? Guardian scripture asserts that the wind cavern... That's all we really get. Lay littered with moraine. What's moraine? I don't. That's not stone. I know offhand. Holy shit! The wind has been blowing here so goddamn hard lately. Moraine is the accumulation of unconsolidated debris, regolith, and rock, sometimes referred to as glacial till. Okay, so like the silt of glaciers that it brings along with it. I tried to type in lay rock for like what it was saying, and it just gave me Rock Lee from Naruto. Improve it so you can see Castrum too cold to finish from all angles. You will increase the distance when they add a new character, a cowardly knight with the ability to see great distances. Surrender. Damn it does. Yeah, for if anyone doesn't know, there's Sir Quilius? One of those. Quilia? Castrum Aquilionis? Yeah, Castrum Aquilionis. Which is a castrum that the Garleans made they never finished because it was too cold. It is really funny that not only does that exist in lore, but my question is like the fact that they bothered putting it in here makes me think that at some point they must have planned to have like a map over there or something, right? Like what happened there? Like why bother putting it in there? Like it's fun, don't get me wrong, it's a cool little bit of lore. But at the same time, it's not like you can see Oxidens from like any other map. It's not like you can see Cape Westwind or Castrum Marinum from any other map. It's not like you can see... I mean, any other ARR map, I want to caveat that. It's not like you can see Baelsar's Wall, other than, obviously, in Storm's Blood map. Can't really see Castrum Novum from anywhere else. Man, I will also tell you fucking what. The fact that being able to go all the way around like Silver Tier in 1.0, I do miss that. What I wouldn't give for them to like have had been like a full ring around the rosy map. Yeah, so you can't really see. So I gotta believe that they just created, you know what? This is the only time they ever use a poster board one of these as well. Unless they were planning on putting like maybe originally like the Castrum not Lacus Latori, Castrum Meridianum and Castrum and the Praetorium like here. Unless that was the original plan in some way. I wonder if that was just from the end. So the fact that they created a low, they created the billboard version of that, and they thought, hey, why don't we just put it there and put a little bit of funny lore around it because it's cool. I wonder if it was just always kind of meant as an ad and not as something dropped in development. Okay. Back to what we were doing. Also make sure occlusion culling is turned off. Pop-in happening a lot more with it on. Okay. Yeah, let's try that. Let's see if that happens. Let's see if that fixes it. Occlusion culling. Now, when you say occlusion culling, are you saying like screen space ambient occlusion? I'm assuming parallax occlusion. You passed it? Which one? Disable rendering of objects when not visible. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Let's see if popping that up. It didn't really change much, but let's. We'll keep backing up until these guys disappear. Doesn't really seem to change much, but I'll turn that off just for now, just in case. Oh. Okay. Dragon Dreaming, 1018. The Dreaming Dragon. And so we fly. Man, they really did up their game. It's sometimes easy to forget, especially when we've had most expansions with full maps at this point. But like you compare just Kurth's Western Highlands to... I also think that they really picked the right maps in some ways to be the first two maps for Heaven's Word. Like, because Churning Mist is a great reveal. Az's Law is a great reveal. And I like the hinterlands, I like the hinterlands and forelands, but they're but like the sheer, even though it's not that maybe visually dynamic, the like sheer, I mean, really, it's not visually. I think it actually has dynamism. It just doesn't have color contrast as much. But like you get to really see the enormity of the map with the Western Highlands, and also see a lot of elevational differences even from the get-go from Falcon's Reach. And then with the Churning Mist, that like being up in the sky and that like the floating and flying is such a different feel. Like, you compare that to the Realm of War maps, it's such a jump up. Where is it? Ah, there it is. The Dreaming Dragon. What appears to be an island floating amidst the icy waters of Ashpool is said to have once been a living, breathing dragon, magicked into slumber by the holy sea, till ash enveloped its body and its limbs turned nigh unto stone. Man. But look, hear me out. So like one of the few things I miss in 1.0 that we don't have now. I wish there was a little bit more dynamism going on with the skyboxes. Like, can you imagine if you saw like especially in a Realm Reborn, man. I mean, this would have been huge in fucking Realm Reborn, but like if you saw like flying through the sky Garlean airships kind of like just sail off every so often. Like that'd be really dope. That's the one thing I wish that they would put more of it into. I wonder what the complications with that are in 14, because like I know we talked about it some during the 1.0 stream, but you really don't have patrolling entities in the sky. I feel like we came up with one example at least that wasn't true, because you've got this orbiting rocks, but they're all kind of stationary. They're in a specific ring orbit in the Sea of Stars. You've got, oh no, Ultimate Thule, you have the dark orbit. You have the colossal dark orbs that are orbited, like the dark voids that kind of orbit around in here. That's one example in Ultimate Thule. Garlemald doesn't really have anything. You don't really have anything orbiting or flying around it, like traversing around. Like obviously you've got the lighthouses kind of floating, but that's not really what we're talking about. Labyrinthos, the sun and the skies altering, but that's just more of a skybox change. It's not really kind of what I'm talking about. Thavnair, you don't have anything really flying around. In Shadowbringers, you obviously have the skybox. You don't like see like Yulmorian vessels like flying around and looking for you in Lakeland. That would have been cool. Or in Clusia or something. That would have been really cool. The Talos is kind of like an object there, but it's not like orbiting, traversing around. Stormblood. Yeah, Stormblood. Yeah, I can't think of anything examples in that either. Like plenty in cutscenes, obviously, but you don't go to like. Can you imagine if you went to, the locks and you could see like Ishgardian or Garlean airships like flying overhead? That would have been really cool. You can see the void on the Sea of Clouds. But yeah, but does it like? I'm trying to remember if it like traverses around. Void Arc Sea of Clouds. Honestly, Ray, that would be a pretty cool thing to put on Archives. Oh, it did! It did roam around! It did totally roam around! I thought it just changed from patch to patch. No, it 100% roamed around. Oh, man. Oh, so they've done it. There's definitely precedence. Though, to be fair, that's a little different than having it up in the sky. Like, it is, well, I mean, it is in the sky, but the sky is the ground, so yeah. It's just in one corner of the zone. Yeah, it's in the northwest, if I'm not mistaken. There was a 1.0 stream. Neve, good to see, glad to have you. And yes, Ray looks like they linked it. Western Highlands has a very powerful presence, especially during the dark gray sky weather. The place is harsh. What happened to the Kurthus Central Lowlands? Well, nothing happened per se, other than that effectively in 2.0 they've kind of fused the Central Highlands and Lowlands. Like the lowland, some of the features of the Lowlands were put into the Highlands, so effectively they still to an extent exist. It's just that they are kind of like all their like major features really were put into the Highlands, like Aurum Vale. Or seeing a horde of dragons fly around. Oh, Ryan, yeah, seeing a horde of dragons, that would have been really cool. Did you grab the maps during the 1.0 stream? I didn't grab them. You mean like screenshots of the maps? No, but I'm sure there are some out there. And if not, we can always pull them up. 1.0 maps. Kurthus. This is the Central Highlands, this is the Central Lowlands. I don't know how we'll be able to see anything on here written out. But yeah, so like some of the stuff. So like ostensibly you're still going through, when you go through the North Drown stuff, you're still going through these areas. Unless technically if you're going through the Eastern Lowlands when you go through the Shroud, I'm not sure I remember correctly. But like the Eastern Lowlands and the Eastern Highlands are basically just no longer at all in the game, and the Eastern Highlands would be a great place because like the what is it? What's Vigil? There's Dawn Vigil, the Dusk Vigil, the Stone Vigil, the Steel Vigil. Which Vigil is it? That's Kurthus Eastern Highlands. The Vigils, here we go. There are 4 fortresses that watch over the east is Dawn Vigil. Okay, so it is Dawn. Yeah, the Dawn Vigil is the east one. So like you could have the Dawn Vigil as part of a variant dungeon or something. Like, to be fair, we still have like Natlan and stuff here. So like some parts of the east did make it in. And like, I think Garuda, if I'm not mistaken, Garuda's stuff is supposed to be in the Eastern lands, and that's like where you're fighting her. The Spoon Vigil. Oh no, Gridbait Map eyes. Yeah, AC, good to see you, glad to have you. And yeah, it's definitely a thing. Yeah, so the Dawn Vigil's here. Reportedly, like, because Natlan is somewhere in here. I forget. But like so like some of that stuff was synthesized in to the central, so like Garuda's stuff is happening somewhere in here or here. I guess the problem with using the Lowlands and Highlands is like that there's really not a lot that's interesting in them other than I guess the Dawn Vigil, but even that's just like a box. It's not really barely anything. So they kind of would have to make up some stuff like, oh, actually, you know, there's like an Ixali path, an Ishgardian path, and a dragon path, and like there's actually some dragon structures here. I mean, to be fair, you really only see them in the hinterlands. You don't really see any like dragon Ishgardian structures in the Western Highlands, do you? In 2.0, in 3.0, does anyone know? I can't think of any. But I mean, like, it wouldn't be that weird to like say like, oh, you know, there are some, you know, actually they found some ancient ones here as well. And then it would be cool because then you've got like the Ixal, you've got an Ixali path to, you know, with their history. You've got a, you know, Ishgardian path with the Dawn Vigil and the current history, and then you've got a dragon's path. I mean, it could also just be a dragon path of more contemporary dragons rather than ancient dragons. It could be like a Ratatoskr, like an ancient Ratatoskr structure or something. That would be really cool. And then, yeah. And then that would also help because I don't think there would be really anywhere else that the Ixali would make. No, that's not true. You could absolutely make the Ixali make sense in the Shroud if you did like especially if you were in the North Shroud, because like they're all over Proud Creek, Peace Garden, and like that's where the entrance to Galmora is. So actually, I take that back. It would make tons of sense to make like literally the Ixali logging ground is right next door to the Galmoran ruins and Galmora city entrance. So we've already gotten a Malja one. Sahagin one would be cool. You could do. There's a lot of different things you could do for Sahagin as well. Kobolds, obviously, Ogamoro, and that'd be very straightforward. Sylph. The Sylph don't need a fucking dungeon. Those cabbages got enough already. Not actually a cabbage dungeon would be funny. I don't know where you would put it though. Like, because other than the Sylph lens, and there's not really, like, unless you were gonna do the people who built the sanctums. No, that doesn't. Yeah, I think you kind of just forget about the Sylph, really. Just don't think there's really. Yeah, I mean, you could do. What you could do is like a Garabonian one that like has to do with the Garabonians and like Ralgers and stuff, and then you like the Fist of Ralger and stuff, and then you somehow also like some of the cabbages from, and you're just reaching to that point. That doesn't. I'm just muttering to myself like a lunatic. The last vigil is in the city, but does that count? I don't think it'll ever be a dungeon. I don't. I'm not mistaken. I don't think the last vigil is named after is named. It's not like a keep or anything. It's just referring to a knight's last vigil. So I think that's an issue. Like it's not the same kind of thing. Wouldn't be within the same category, as it were. Guardian High Houses. Last Vigil stands at the center of the four circles built far beyond the borders of the city. Dawn, Dusk, Stone, and Steel. No. This is it. The Last Vigil stands at the center of the four citadels built far beyond the borders of the city. Dawn, Dusk, Stone, and Steel. In the event that they fall to the might of the Dravanians, this watchtower and the pillars would serve as the last bastion for the faithful. No, absolutely is considered the last stand of the four. Yeah, you're totally right. Learn something new every day. Chris, you can see glad it's basically this tree where the Four Toms Manor is. Yeah, but it's apparently it is considered amongst them. The Kurth's map of the fandom is 5325 pix height for on fandom. Yeah, the others are so tiny. Yeah, IDK where the Garuda is. Yeah. Well, all we know is the Garuda's east because we know that Garuda's Garuda is. We get to Garuda flying out from the Shroud, but we also go. We know it's not south, and we know it's not north, and we know it's beyond Natland. We know that like we take the crystal to get there, and it's over out somewhere in here. We know it's not within Zelphatal, or at least like Zelphatal proper. It's still within the low hills, so it would have to be somewhere because like Zelphatal's here, so it's like somewhere in here. Yephame's here. So the Kurthis lowlands would be here. Central highlands are here. Eastern high and lowlands are here. Because you can see the river in here. Western highland within here. Although actually interestingly, Is that supposed to be Swift Run? I bet you it. Oh, what? I bet you it is supposed to be the Swift Run. I bet you this is supposed to be Swift Run. That would explain a lot. Yeah. So, and then there's the Forelands, Hinterlands, Far Reach. Man, we're so close. We got to get a fucking Far Reach variant dungeon. I swear to fucking Christ. Which Garuda do you prefer? 14 Garuda or 15 Garuda, considering the recent crossover? I don't prefer either. I think, like, I like that they reinterpret the primals all the time. I mean, I guess hand to my chest. Both good designs. I think of 14s as more a representation of like classic Garuda. I think 15's like with the mask sort of style and stuff is like trying something. But yeah. I love how annoyed Garuda is in Endwalker. Yeah, being summoned. Yeah, she seems to be the same spot where she was in 1.0. Yeah. Last Stand Day, Sabaton. I want more trial names that sound like epic occurrences and not just the place name, like Dying Gasp, Last Step of Fate, The Final Day. Yeah, how many of those do we got? Like, let's look at that. Okay, Realm Reborn. No, let's try Realm Reborn. The Bowl of Embers, the Navel, the Howling Eye. I mean, those are pretty good names, even if those are other places. Porta Decamana, the Chrysalis. I mean, these are like objectively the worst, right? A Relic Reborn, the Chimera. A Relic Reborn, the Hydra. The Whirl Eater. I mean, hey, that is that named after? This. How come Father to succeed in summoning forth the voracious god, the primal father? Then should the mighty serpent be allowed to leech that away? We spoke to the fates. The Whirl Eater sits in the bay with her towing vessel. Okay, so the Whirl Eater is the ship. Damn it. In the bay with the towing vessel, the Triumph awaiting. The Whirl Eater sits in the bay, so that is the platform we're on. So the platform, it is literally the striking tree. No, okay, so you're right. The Whirl Eater sticks with the naming convention. You're right. Yeah, literally all of them in A Realm Reborn are just the place. Thawcast Thawk, still just the place. Limitless Blue. I mean, Limitless Blue is good, being up in the sky. That's not bad. Singularity Reactor. Yeah, that is kind of... Singularity Reactor is kind of boring for the Thoradin fight. Final Steps of Faith. It's not like... Yeah, that's pretty good. But to be fair, the Final Steps of Faith is also just the name of the place. And it's only called the Final Steps of Faith because we used to have the Steps of Faith as a different trial. So, you know. Containment Bay. Yeah, it's literally just the name. The Pool of Tribute. Emanation. Yeah, this one's interesting. It's called Emanation because it's not really... There's nowhere else to play. The Royal Menagerie, Cash and Fullness, the Jade Stoa, Hell's Cure, Wreath of Snakes. Yeah, those are all literally... Yeah, you're not wrong. Dancing Plague. Actually, Shadowbringers is the first one that really in a meaningful way, and with all of them, actually. The Dancing Plague. It's not like this is named like Limeg, right? Or... Did I get the name right? Yeah, Limeg. I don't know what I was thinking about. But yeah, Legia. Gia? But like, I was right with the first part anyways. Legia. It's actually the Dancing Plague. The Crown Immaculate. It's not like this is named Mount Gulg. Obviously the dungeon's named Mount Gulg, but the Crown of the Immaculate, the Dying Gasp. So all three of them are kind of evocative. The Seat of Sacrifice is interesting because the Seat of Sacrifice is in one sense literal in terms of where it happens, but it's not really like the name of the place. Unless is that the name of the place in like when you go there in the Crystal Tower and stuff? That would either way, it's definitely works metaphorically. Cloud Deck, Castro Marinum, Cinderdrift. I mean, okay, so the weapons are. It's really just the first three that aren't the place. Memoria Misera, obviously, yeah. The Darkened Side. I mean, it's literally the place, also metal as fuck. The Mother Crystal, literal, but also quite good. The Final Day. Okay, yeah, it's very good. Storm's Crown, that's literal. Mount Ordeal's literal. Voidcast Day is literal. The Abyssal Fracture Day. I mean, to be fair, The abyssal fracture, again, the abyssal fracture is quite literal of like where the place is, but it's also metal as fuck. But can we really be mad? Proves even a full creation version of primals have personality. Yeah, I love. Oh yes. Oh, the version of the primal summit. Yes, that she still has a personality. Yeah, I love that cutscene. The nod to the 1.0 trailer and more Susano. Oh, rejoicing. Yeah, I feel like 14 has an overall design that is very classic but unique. You see it and go, hey, it's Garuda. Yeah, it's interesting. Infinite. I always wonder how much of that is also a byproduct of which Final Fantasy you spend the most time with, and also, was your first. Because like I think of that as like, to me, Ifrit in 10 is like that's Ifrit, motherfucker. I think the bestial. I think of the bestial Ifrits as like the Ifrits, but like there are multiple depictions of Ifrit as very like just a dude. You know, speaking of the 15 version, what's another good example? I was gonna say like Bahamut in 10 is like Bahamut to me, but to be fair, he's always been draconic, right? It's just been a variant of that. Same with Shiva. Except for when Shiva was a motorcycle. I will say that was the one time that Shiva was quite different. But to be fair, they brought back the twins idea in 15. Which I don't know what's up with that. I don't know why 13 and 15 both did a twins thing. I don't know if it was a byproduct of them like being originally Nova Fabula Crystal Owls, blah, 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 or something. 15 version of Leviathan is a woman. Well, she's female. Or at least they use female pronouns for her, but I wouldn't say she's a woman. Bahamut must be a dragon, it's a rule. Tell that to 15. Well, if you were the reimagined Allegan commander of the Ixali, you would be annoyed too. They named the ship the World Eater. Yeah. Can't wait for the 16 crossover. I hope we get Ambrosia as a mount companion model replacer. Yeah. That would be really cool, Ryan. I would we're definitely getting the Torgal mount. I don't know if I would expect 2 mounts, but that would be really good. I mean, to be fair, and I don't know if I have it on Elioux, but Ray Ray was just using it. The Drought Chocobo isn't so far off, but you know, it's not one-eyed and stuff. Next trial name is going to be the Walmart parking lot of the interstate, the one across from Old Circuits. 9 Garuda is amazing design. What does 9 Garuda look like? I just played 9. Did I never summon Garuda in all of 9? Oh, right. It's the bird. It's the talking bird thing. No. That's why I didn't summon it. It's because I hit it. Yes. And this is Garuda in Final Fantasy X. It's basically a zoo, but they also actually have zoos in it. That's, to be fair, that's because, okay, technically that is the Garuda in 10. To be fair, the wind summon, like the effective Garuda analog is Valfor. So this is what effectively the not Garuda, but Garuda of, and Valfor is a great fucking design. Love Valfor. Oh. It amused me to find the place in FF7 that is literally called Wall Market, i.e. Walmart. Ring around the rosies, pocket full of posies. Yeah, the dancing plague. Biggest tower final place is named the Emperor's Throne. Okay, so it's not called the Seat of Sacrifice. I noticed something when playing through the Crystal Tower. In the room you fight Amon. The walls have paintings of Amon, Xande, and the tower. Oh, that's cool. I don't think I've ever noticed that, Nevik. I do love the orchestrated theme of the final day. It crescendos into Latin. Yeah. Well, Voidcast Deus literally means a Void Forged cube, and you fight him literally on a cube made from void magic. Wait. A low platform. Yeah, I was about to say, okay, no. I was about to say, Deus doesn't mean cube. Yeah, low platform for a lectern, seats of honor, or a throne. I thought 5 was my first. And do you feel it defined a lot of your understanding of Final Fantasy, Chrissy? 15 version of Leviathan, and Stone. Bahamut must be a dragon as a rule. 15 was still a 13 game. Yeah, it was a 13 game originally. And technically it's still under the Crystallis, Fabula, no, blah, 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 blah. I will never remember how to say that. What is it? Final Fantasy Fabula Nova Crystallis. For those of you who don't know, the 13 game, there was a period of time where they were like, okay, we're going to create like an inciting mythology, and then we're going to make a bunch of the games under that. The problem was in the time that they did it, which was, to be fair, 7 years, they only put out really 2 Final Fantasy games. Well, okay, that's wrong. Technically, they put out 13, Type 0, 13-2, and Lightning Returns, and then 15. But well, I guess technically Type 0. Technically speaking, Type 0 was also a Fabula Nova Crystallis game. But basically the idea was that they all started with, they gave the same concept of the origin story to each of the people writing the stories, and then they ran with it in their own direction. Yeah, it never really amounted to a lot, because 15 really does a lot to try and ignore all of it. Type 0 kind of does. 13's really the only one who does a lot with it, and to be fair, 13-2 honestly is the one who probably does the most with it. I mean, I guess technically speaking, Lightning Returns does have part of handle, but you know, like Beelzebub, you know, yeah, fuck Lightning Returns. I don't think I ever checked out what is Final Fantasy Agito. I always forget. I look into it and then I forget. Wait, the original name for this was Final Fantasy Hepburn? No, it's Final Fantasy Agito. What the fuck? Oh, Hepburn Romanization. I see. That's what. It was a mobile game. No wonder we never heard about it. What was Final Fantasy Awakening? Was it never a mobile game? And it was a mobile game. Gentiana, when color is twin, so much as I mean, I'll stop talking because I actually don't. I played 15 once in 2016, so maybe but like, they effectively, from my recollection, treated Shiva as like a dipartite entity. So, but yeah, fair enough. No, literally, she's named the Tide Mother. Are you talking about Leviathan? Did I get something wrong earlier when I said she wasn't a woman? FF7 was my first real Final Fantasy other than Mystic Quest, so my image of the gods summons that appear in that are my default view of them. Yep. FF7 Remake crossover for Talking Dog Best Friend Minion. Ruta was just an enemy in 9. Yeah, the old art in 15's prophecies depicted all the astrals in human form, so I guess it depends on interpretation. Yeah. Kind of curious why all of them Leviathan wasn't like a mermaid. It's a fair point. You see, so you got Garuda or Garuda semi-human for the most part. Ramu is human. Titan is human. Ifrit is seen as human. Bahamut is within the dragon armor, but shown with a semi-human face of some kind underneath it. So you're right. Leviathan is the only one that like is fully depicted as non-humanistic in some way that I can think of. I played the game once almost a decade ago. It still shows the 14 Garuda in results. Point proves, yeah. Eating Garuda doesn't look too different from you. Oh. Not too different. Laffy, good to see you. Glad to have you. Gotta get going to head home. Have a good one, Deathberry. Have a great day. You too. Hope you start feeling more back to normal soon. Here's to me hoping. I think it was good I started with one of the more overtly funny ones. Yeah. I would say 5 of the first 6. Of the first 8, I would say 5 is the one that is the most charming. By far. I think when you get to 9 and 10 is the first time you could maybe argue that 10 and 9 try to be quite charming in some ways. I think 10's less like overtly charming. I think 10 is quite charming, but I think it's less overtly charming to the degree that 5 is. Actually, you know what? I might argue that of the mainline Final Fantasies, other than maybe 14, 5 and 14, I'd take the MMOs off the table. I would argue that 5 is probably the most overtly charming. Funny how Patch was named the Dark Throne and the Trial is the name of the platform under the throne. Yeah. I mean, it's also interesting because it's the Dark Throne. In Japanese, I think it's, what, the Sinner's Throne? Which, man, that would have been a metal-ass title. I also think that the Sinner's Throne probably does a little bit better to communicate the point, which is that the seat that Golpez occupies, the responsibility he believes he possesses. The Dark Throne, I think, while still apt, fails to convey that same concept. Okay, we did... I gotta do the Dusk Vigil. Dusk Vigil is 26. Man, I've been doing really good so far. As long as I keep talking, it's pretty easy to put off. I mean, actually, hopefully I'll get some good sleep. I'm glad that I at least have been playing the game today. Man, I missed working. I missed, like, doing shit. That was good. Vista Record, the Dusk Vigil. Calamity was not kind to this once proud watchtower from which Sir Yulmeric and the brave knights of the House Durandare once stood watch against the encroaching horde. Since the walls fell and the chill took hold, it has come to be inhabited by all manner of fell beasts, and God only knows what else. Gorgone Mil of Gorgone. Did not have a good development period. That's to put it mildly. Not really. The Dark Throne itself was literally above in... Not above, no, below. Because the Void Casteus is in the cube is floating above the opening of the hole. You don't go down there. You can literally see the moon and the hole around you is beneath you. So no, he's right. It is below, not above. Crystal Chronicles I feel is underrated. I'm going to say something I feel slightly sacrilegious to most Crystal Chronicles failures, which I think is Crystal Chronicles is perfectly where it belongs, which is to say that the people who love it really love it, but it has been slightly forgotten to much of history. I love, what was it, Twin Moons, because of how dark that shit gets. Like, it's not that I dislike Crystal Chronicles. I just think it sure is a Final Fantasy spinoff. But that's just my personal taste. I do think it has like some interesting ideas and things. I feel like it suffers the same issue as the Evilise games, where it's like, what if we said they were all connected, but then actually like only in the most elusive ways? Only in that we have the same races, which to be fair is better than the Evilise games, seeing as Tactics didn't. 31. 31-4? That can't be right. 31-4-8. Why? That can't be right. Stop dunking on 15. Internet is enough through the years. Well, I don't know what the internet has to say. I only have what I have to say. Remember good parts like collapsing a giant turtle into a gravitational singularity. I do not hate 15. I am disappointed by 15 because it has lots of great things about it and its bros and plenty else, and then it is a mess, and its messness undercuts what is very good about the game. Top of the bridge in landscape. Wait, that's not actually up here right on the dividing line. Why is that can't be right. That's stupid. Sir Gorgane was a proud knight and a bannerman of the House Durandare until the fateful day when the heir of the house vanished from sight while under his care, never to be seen again. Devastated by the loss of the boy and his own failing, he put aside his blade and built this farm, where he quietly lived out the rest of his days. There's a quest somewhere. Let's check out T-Tools. There's a quest that references this as well. Gorg. West. Well-mannered widow, Kurthis Western Highlands. Well, how do you do, dearie? Not many people have time to talk about someone like me. Oh, right. She wants you to put flowers on his grave, doesn't you? You could take these flowers, go to the mill, and place them on my husband's grave. Yeah, which is actually kind of sad because I'm pretty sure Durandare is House Durandare. If I'm not mistaken, that is the one that Carvalin is supposed, is the heir of. Yeah. So this guy lost Carvalin. Carvalin went off to be a pirate, and this guy was so shamed by that. If only he knew. I wish he at least had found out that Carvalin was still alive. I love, man, some of the background little stories that are going back in 14 that you just never notice unless you're looking for them. This is good shit. Neil Merrick was a 1.0 NPC, wasn't he? Yes. Correct. Remember good part. Eden Ifrit is very Diablos. Eden Ifrit is the OG football player. Kokaidos is the pale bear. I played 15. I'm mad because I could have done well, but unfortunately the highs are high and the lows are really low. Yeah. If it was named after the platform, it would have been called Voidcast Elea, I think. Is Elea cube or is Elea dice? Like die? Because Elea Actus Est is a roll of the dice, right? Or the die is cast, I think. Here, cube in Latin. Let's find out. Cube is cubus. Oh, I dozed off for a while watching the stream. Did I miss anything important? Not really, Raven. At least nowadays there's nice enough to include Kingsglaive footage to finally explain the plot. Yeah, I played the vanilla-ass non-patched version of that game, so. Still hunting Heavensward logs? I am. Mrs. talking about Kingsglaive footage sort of explains it, but not really. Having recently played through FF3, I thought it was charming. Am I weird for that? No, FF3 is definitely charming. 100%. FF3 is I think is the first of the first three that starts to get its groove in terms of being more charming and goofy. For sure. I don't think to say that FF3 is. I only think my argument is only that FF5 is probably the most overtly charming of all the mainline games. It's not my favorite by any means. I'm not arguing oh it's the best, or the characters are the best, or I just think it's the most really got its big heart and being fun and silly outright as a mainline game. Not that it has there are silly moments in all of them, but it is just goofy in a fun way constantly. Hemlock 3619. Crystal Chronicles HD was implemented badly. I have never played HD, so I don't know. I only played them as they came out. FF is getting more mature these days. Looking at 11, 7, 16, and 7R. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that 7R is really just for the most part trying to do what 7 did, but with more deftness. I mean, there's not really anything darker in Remake than there was in the original. And there's quite a bit more levity. I mean, and I don't, when I say levity, I don't just mean goofiness, because 7 could be goofy as shit, don't get me wrong. But I mean, like, there's more just, like, actual, like, small bits of levity rather than just goofiness. Hemlock. Once a bustling village and home to the woodcutters who plied their trade in the western highlands of Kurthis, this settlement, named for the large evergreens unique to the area, was abandoned when the chill came and remains a ghost to this day. I mean, to be fair, also, actually, they point this out with Falcon's Nest, is that the original Falcon's Nest was actually destroyed, I think, during the Calamity, if I'm not mistaken. I forget what they actually say. There's a quest that there's a guy right over here that will tell you about it. So to be fair, its placement is kind of being slightly different, makes sense, but he also says that it's on the bones of the old one, so presumably it's not that different, it's just that the structures have changed. Bed of Bones, 2036. Carvalin with Kraken's arms. Bears of the Calamity became an Ashkin whose face is a boss of the Dusk Vigil. Yes. He got into the lazy tower. I like that one highborn who doesn't know her kitten is a curl. Yes! Okay, that one's funny. In the translation, Elioaux acts as approximately a die is cast. Yeah. FF3 originally didn't have much of a story. To be fair, Nevik, what's interesting is that while, yes, the remake adds a lot more characterization and a little bit more story, I would say that especially of the first 3 games, it definitely, I think, has probably the most story. Like, FF2 is trying really hard to have a lot of story, but, like, I don't know. FF2 probably has as much story. FF2 just stumbles a bunch of times. It's really cool. It's really cool how much FF2 is trying shit. I really appreciate that about FF2. I think it gets kind of a bad rap. Not that it isn't janky in ways that I think are warranted, but like I think it's the adventures of Link, right? Is what Final Fantasy 2 is. That's how they learn shit. I don't think Desh jumping into a furnace was charming though. Imagine if that was Graha. The Bed of Bones. It remains to be confirmed whether, as the tales say, Yetis prefer to slumber atop makeshift bedding fashioned from the remains of their victims, in large part because the prominent naturalists have been reluctant to do the fieldwork necessary to corroborate the claim. Wow, that's actually pretty funny. FF4 was the first one to have like a fleshed out plot. Comparatively, agreed. I think you could meaningfully argue that 2 and 3 technically had full plots, but compared to 1 at least, but like it definitely they're meager, and I would definitely agree that 4 is the first one that has like a hey beginning, middle, to end, full story, all characters actually have arcs kind of dealio for sure. I mean, then part of this because 3 doesn't even really have characters. I mean, it doesn't have characters you play as. I definitely think 4. I would agree that 4 is like the first like when like story, like well told, and the Pike 3228. Have a good one, Tam. FF3 is great, but then Desh comes out of the oven. That was very weird. He had just been hanging out in like after tumbling into a furnace and saying he was gonna die, comes out of it out of nowhere, like days later. More Dombe Udon. A chance Charlene can give their son technology to Ishgard or Garlemald. Not really, seeing as like the artificial sun technology, like you would need to have it overhead and at a place that where you can contain the atmosphere. Like they're not terraforming really. They're like creating it's more like an indoor, climate control. So I don't think that would really do much for Charlians or these Guardians. Honestly, you would be better served just trying to like. Oh, this one's a prey, I think. You better be better served trying to flash me. What is it? Slash rally. Oh, I see. You're supposed to rally them. You can't do it. This pike. The monument is a stone sculpture carved in the likeness of Haldrath, the first Azure Dragoon. The stonemason Paracel devoted 30 of her later years chiseling the piece, and it stood for more than 150 years, since even today. One cannot find a more stirring tribute to one of Ishgard's founding fathers. Yeah, it'd be really nice if this had been in 1.0. God, the level to which there's just freaking nothing in the maps of 1.0 is, to be frank, shocking. Big heating system. Yeah, all that stuff's in this game. Honestly, you'd be better served just like working on technologies to like fix the ethereal currents and like create terraforming that way, frankly. Though that has all sorts of questionable ethics. And 923. Okay. I think I'm gonna finish up this map, then I might have to go lay down. Definitely. Yeah. This is a good day. I actually did something today and was very, very thankful for that. So thanks, guys. How the frick-a-frack am I supposed to get to this? Am I supposed to like... Can I walk up the... Oh, yeah, okay. Next time we do the Kukenay jumping tower. Assuming we're actually supposed to jump for that. I wonder, can I land on... Nope. They thought of everything. That doesn't seem right. Okay, now I'm just Ellis and Jesus. Black Iron Bridge. This testament to the skill of House's Mail artisans serves the main road stretching from the capital to the Dusk Vigil. Although built primarily of solid stone, the bridge was named for its suspended metal chains, wrought from black iron impervious to the blazing temperatures of the dragon's exaltation. Like, for example, this is not in 1.0, so I'd like to point out that this bridge was somehow built in the past 5 years after going through all the bullshit that they're going through. And yet also somehow they were unable to repair Ishgard. The things that popped up post-Calamity make no sense. Which is fine, because this is much better than what we had, but... Yeah. Dash of cinnamon. Formerly a garrison of knights and falconeers, was originally abandoned when the snows came following the Calamity. I think Hydaelyn and her people tried to get help at the nest and gotten. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the exact plotting of everything that Hydaelyn went through was, Nevik. Definitely should do that. Would jump into the furnace for my... just found out that an anime I love is coming back. Hooray! They put all the details in 1.0 in the pods. Fairy tale. Real fans love Rave Master. No, I'm glad I'm used everywhere. Considering most people don't like freezing to death, the Charlines and the Lopreds have the time to pursue it. Yeah! The problem is that the large scale like impact of what you if you did shift the ethereal ley lines, you don't really know exactly what's going to happen, and a lot of you're going to kill thousands of living creatures in the process. Like there's just no way around it. 910. So like, I mean, maybe they would. Maybe they'll hand wave it away or something. Praise Elioux. Wait, what? I think most people don't like freezing to climb up the chains from the bottom. Take back that I said about the roles and their duties. The healers, my Rubicante party keeps getting hit. God bless intervention. Gotta do Kugane jumping tower and the lamppost and jumping puzzle in Razat Han. Oh yeah, I'll definitely do those. I like doing those. Honestly, I love jumping up the Kugane tower. I just can't stand the fucking jump at the leap of faith at the end. That's what drives me crazy. I know like if you jump from like a very specific line on the roof tower, you can get it pretty much 100% of the time, but frick me, man. Said to be as scalding as a worm's breath. Dragon's spit is a colorful analogy for the hot springs nestled between the cliffs near the Slate Mountains. Local wildlife has long been attracted to the warmth of the natural thermal pools, and their numbers have only increased following the advent of the long winter. The steaming springs are also frequented by Ishgardian knights, who laud them for their supposedly healing properties. Okay, last one. Slate Mountains, 12-8. That's helpful. Very close. Maybe the bridge was built at some point in history, but lost and recovered like the Crystal Tower. Look, at least the Crystal Tower, like, wasn't there and shot. Like, they explain the Crystal Tower, right? I'm not saying that I won't accept a bullshit explanation. Just at least give me an explanation, right? That's like, I mean, like, not complete bullshit. Like, them building that bridge in 5 years is bullshit. With everything else going on. Slate Mountain. These mountains on the outskirts of Ishgard were valued as mining site for slate of exceptional quality. 3 years past, the Knights of House Ismail attempted to carve an Ishgardian stone stronghold into the cliffs, enraging the dragons Salubre and his followers. Remnants of the gruesome battle that followed still lie scattered about the crags, unable to decay in the chilled altitude. I mean, look, if they were trying to create a freaking fortress out here, as far away as here, 3 years ago, I mean, like, I guess, I don't know, maybe. Then why the fuck can't they fix Ishgard? Yeah. I wonder how they managed to build a lot of things in Ishgard. Where is ground level to start on? To be fair, in that category here, we can actually kind of solve that. Let's go back to Limsa, or Limsa. Let's go back to Central Ishgard. What confuses me is there's a guy by the lake with the frozen boat waiting for spring and the lake to thaw. Well, I thought that was the guy who was missing when it used to be like that. And wishing desperately that maybe it'll happen. Cheers, Kiko. Have a good one. Now that Elioux finally converted me into Paladin main, just kidding, caster forever. Paladin main. Be Paladin. I will need to get properly glowy sword. Do it. So here. See, you can see the base. Like, yes, there's the giant sea of clouds here, but there's quite a large structure for it to be built on. You know, it's funny, pre 1.0, pre doing that 1.0 stuff, I thought the Western Highlands was like out here. That's like why you couldn't see it. But now I know that, like, also, you want to know something funny? You want to go watch our 1.0 video and look. So, like, also, how do you explain goddamn White Brim Front wasn't in 1.0 at all? And then, like, the fucking Stone Vigil is hilarious because literally the entire Stone Vigil is like the size of this building. It's like just a little like stone outcropping. Like White Brim Front is bigger than the 1.0 Stone Vigil. But like, here's my problem, right? Here's my problem. If this was 1.0, you should at least be able to like, so that's Snowcloak, but you should be able to at least see the ruins of like a bridge here, and you should be able to see all of Kurthus Western Highland right here. Like you should just be able to completely like see. I wish like if they could do one thing, like some things to like go back and fix the maps a little bit. I wish you could see the Western Highlands out here. Because as is, not only do you only see mountains, but like past the mountains, it just looks like ocean. But like this is where the Kurthus Western Highlands should be, right here. But I'm glad that I now actually have a sense of any of this shit. Amon's stasis magic prevented the Crystal Tower from being destroyed, or was it just that durable? A little column A, a little column B. I mean, I would say the stasis magic really seems to more have affected the interior than the exterior, would be my understanding. Any recommendations for probably glowy blue but dyeable swords? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Here we go. There's a couple. Let me pull up. So the first one is there's an anima weapon. So here are a couple. So here are a couple good ones. The first are the relic weapons from Heavensward, which are very, very easy to get. But you have quite a few blue options, including the final one, which is quite blue and dyeable. Or technically, sorry, not final one, second to last one. Then you have another good one that I would think of is the Manderville relic weapons. So you've got obviously that one with the paladin. There's another good one with the paladins, if you give me a second. It's not this one, though. It's the next one or the prior one? Huh. Yeah, maybe it was just confused. Yeah, I would go with the last one and the anima, or the second to last one and the anima one. Solo grinding for the anima weapons are a nightmare. Solo grinding. Yeah, what are you solo grinding? Hydaelyn paladin weapon. I don't think does that have a glow yet? I don't think that's a glow. But also, yeah, so the Eastern Highlands should be all right over here. So like obviously you should be able to do the lowlands from here. You can't really see much. I mean, you can kind of see a bit of like what should be relatively speaking the Highlands from Natlan. That's kind of nice. Okay, I'm gonna return back to Nocia. Honestly, you just take one other person with you and you just do the, like, what, A9 or whatever. Why not on anima? Well, why would you need... I guess I'm just confused why you would need to grind on anima relics other than maybe light, which you can do really, really quickly, like speed clear. Because the thing is that you, like, all you need to do is just do other content and you'll get poetics, and you can spend those poetics on the weapon. Like, it's really that simple. Or, you'll, like, have more than you'll know what to do with. Okay. Since this is YouTube, we're contractually obligated to say like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Ray Ray. Ooh. I did so last one. Lance, sorry, we're logging off right now. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Sorry you're catching us right at the end. And this is my go-to poetics. I did solo last one. Right. My point is, AC, you don't need to. I mean, like, you can. I'm not saying you can't solo. It's just, like, it's silly to solo. It's to, like, grind. Or unless you're saying soloing 9. Like, A9. Which is fine. I mean, again, you can do it. It's just much, much faster with 2 to 3 people. The point was more, it's just very inefficient. Yeah. Thanks for stream. Get well. Yes. Yes. Thanks, guys. Sorry again for the weird energy. It may be weird energy for a little bit while we continue to heal up. But yeah, I will go give the boy a good cuddle. And I will see you guys. Hopefully, I'm going to keep trying to like, even if it's very low energy and weird and wibbly wobbly for the next bit, you know, stream every day I can. I don't know. Maybe that's going to be every day. Maybe it's going to be like once a week. Sorry, it's going to be a little bit weird for a bit here. Because just... Oof. Get well soon, Ellie. Don't stress yourself too much. Yeah, I won't. Comments to our line, added friend, Lance. Sure. Okay. Cheers, Infinite. Good laugh. I will catch you guys next time. Peace out. And give your pets a cuddle.